Continuing this run of Kentucky Route Zero, Attack 3. I think this one is one of my favorite acts. It's pretty good. The radio announcer. 83 and sunny now. Looks like it's gonna get up to about 101 by late afternoon in Louisville and 103 in E-Town. Not a cloud in sight, so get out those parasols. Major accident just ahead of the Bardstown exit, so if you're headed to work on 31, you are late, my friend. Haha. Reset. Sugar? And Conway. Just a little. Forgot how you take your coffee. Tired. Didn't sleep well. I heard you yelling. Bad dreams? We were up on a roof, Ira and I, and Charlie, eating a light supper. I was drinking sweet tea. Charlie was reading. You're surrounded by other houses, closely packed, huge sidewalks. Must have been a... what's the word? A subdivision? That's it, I'm sure. Below us, a group of people were gathered, standing quietly. A man was reading from a book. From a book. What? I asked Ira about the weather. Would it rain on Tuesday, or when would the sun set? Something like that. He wouldn't answer me. Charlie stood up, and Ira told him to watch his step, and then I remembered. I woke up before I could stop him. Charlie was alone on that roof. Yes, he was. He was so bright. His teachers said... what was the word? Imaginative? That's it. How could I forget? It wasn't his fault. It wasn't anyone's fault, Conway. That's what we mean when we say it's... a tragedy. Sure. Well... we have a mail order delivery today. Might be a long drive. I hope the truck can hold up. Long drive? What makes you think so? They said they couldn't come in person. Maybe just a shut-in. I don't recognize the address. The order is all... I'm sure we can fill it. Not much left back there. That's good. I wouldn't want a disused pile of antiques to be my... oh, what's the word? Legacy? Maybe. No, that's not the word. I just need to think of it. Or coffee or something. Or I've had too much. It's getting harder. Yes, it is. What are those boxes you set in the hallway? Those are Charlie's old books. Oh. I thought you might like to look at them. I'll take them with me. Thank you. Cora should be here soon. Will you wait with me? Really? I'll wait with you. Back to the radio announcer. There's your traffic and weather on the 5s. That's every 10 minutes, brought to you by this Consolidated Power Company. Stick around for Old Kentucky Home with Kate, helping you turn your humble home into a mansion. After this. No. I have coffee too. It's Conway turning into one of the whiskey delivery drivers. To Truman. But that's only if you make a late payment on a follow-up visit. I think everything went well enough here that they'll only want to bill for... Oh, he's awake. How do you feel, old man? All fixed up? Truman says you might be a bit misty coming out of it, so... He was dreaming. Truman. That's unlikely. Noripinol TM is quite powerful. In fact, many patients report a sensation of lost time. Do you feel like you've lost time? I guess so. Been about 2 hours. What have you been doing? We watched TV for a while. Then Dr. Truman showed me some of the terms of this bill. It's kind of... You'll want to look it over it yourself, I think. About that leg. How's your leg feeling? Yeah, that's the important part. Conway shifts his leg a bit in the chair, testing it. Well? Well, it was the heat. The shingles are cracked in the sun, and one of them slipped out under his feet. Shingles? What are you talking about? Who slipped? Dr. Truman again. Your thoughts and feelings are probably still a little nebulous. From the Neuropnol TM. That's totally normal. It'll pass. I wouldn't recommend driving, at least for another hour or two regardless. Conway stares remotely at his leg. Let's talk about a few things you should be aware of. Recovery, rehabilitation, and side effects. I should have plenty of resting time coming up soon. Good for you. Vacation, or... Shannon casts a reassuring glance in Conway's direction. Well, at your age, I want to be clear. You should expect lingering effects of the injury for more or less the rest of your life. Don't immerse it fully in water, avoid extremes of temperature. I'd stay away from dusty roads and mountain lions as much as possible. Mountain lions? Good advice in any context. Best thing you can do is keep it clean and free of debris. What do I clean it with? Only clean your leg with a soft cloth, moistened with water or isopropyl alcohol. You'll definitely want to avoid abrasive agents like detergents or other solvents. So, do you have any questions? Anything about the bill that didn't make sense? I don't mean to rush you, but I have an early fishing trip. And, tell him about the payment plan and the bill. Yeah, that's one of the atypical clauses. I don't really have any control over the bill now that the Consolidated Power Company bought my employer. They handle everything. So it all runs through your electricity bill now. You can pay it back in full on your next billing cycle, or you can get an energy credit payment plan. You'd have to call Consolidated for more detail about that. I don't really understand how it works. Something about generating electricity to send back into the grid. Oh, one more thing. Don't be alarmed if you experience any side effects of the Neuropnol. Typically, we see daydreaming, deja vu, pensiveness, fugue states, regular perception of time. About 15% of patients report a generalized sensation of lateness. Nothing to be alarmed about. Just keep it in mind. Thanks for your help. Julian's outside. You can head back to your truck. Thanks, Ezra. Conway has it in big, huh? Act 3, Scene 1. Museum of Dwellings. How are the drugs treating you? Streetlights seem a bit brighter. Oh, like trails and tracers? Something like that. My mom used to get that. She had migraines. My folks had a peculiar relationship with medicine. We almost never had a regular doctor or health insurance or anything like that. Our immigration stuff was a mess for most of my childhood, so we only qualified for state programs and small patches before something or other would get contested, and we learned to just pile on dentist appointments and stuff in those short windows. If a cut got infected or migraines were too much to handle, Mom would talk to so-and-so who knew so-and-so, usually another minor, and end up with some pills. And instead of medical advice, every pill came with gossipy anecdotal warnings and superstitions, like all this lore that came with it. Like magic, dangerous, mysterious. Weaver's folks couldn't help? Yeah, they had pretty good health care through the university for a while there. A couple times they'd swing something, so I got a bit of whatever Weaver needed. In high school, Weaver got these pills to help her focus. She was so smart, but always going off in different directions, mind racing, like 5 conversations going on in her head at once, and you're lucky if even one of them is still someone in the room, you know. So, she had these pills, and they seemed to help. I was struggling in school too, failing my history class. She offered to share the pills. Sounds dangerous. Yeah, they seemed pretty harmless at first. I guess that's why I kept going with it. One day I was sitting on my bed, my notebook was open next to me on top of a textbook, and I was holding a pen in my hand. I remembered this moment from several years before. It came up so suddenly, with such precision, I couldn't put it out of my mind. I felt I had to stay with it until I'd recalled the whole thing perfectly. It was just a tiny nothing moment, my mom patching up the side of a bird cage, winding some spare wire around the frame to reinforce it. It was fixated on that image, and that sound, the cage kind of bending and twanging as she worked with it, rapping and nodding, scraping copper against paint like bowing a rubber violin with a railroad tie. My parents came back from a triple shift and found me still sitting there on the edge of the bed, pen in hand, delirious with thirst, patching that birdcage with a 1,000-yard stare. Get some rest back there? The doctor seemed nice enough. Just got in over his head is all. Now we're moving at full speed again. Freedom. See, this is one of my favorite acts, but I don't exactly remember what's in this act anymore. I remember it being pretty long. Who knows? Emily. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day of the year except Labor Day. Last admission is at 4 p.m. daily. Bob. Damn. Emily. Try the door. Back to Conway. You're a little late for the museum. Ben to Emily. And then what? Emily. Ben, you're being very uptight right now. Ben to Emily. You're right, it's unlocked. Bob. I'm not sure it's finished in there, though. Emily. What's finished? Would it be better if it were finished? Can we be sure of that? They're pretty friendly in there. Emily to Ben. Hush. I think I heard a voice. Maybe a security guard? Bob. I didn't hear anything. Ben. Just too late. Let's come back tomorrow. Ben. All right. Let's go in. Bob. If everything's shut down, it'll be pretty boring. Conway. It's definitely after hours. Ben to Bob. What? Bob. I said it'll be boring. Ben. No, Emily. We have flashlights. Look, if we visit by day, we see what they want us to see. If we visit by night, it's all up to us. Emily, Ben, and Bob argue about whether to enter the museum. That's probably all they have to say. The freedom of movement. And strangely trailing legs. See that? Interesting. Shannon. So, what's the plan here? Should try to get in touch with that clerk. Yeah, okay. These files we got from the storage facility are all tagged and stamped. There's a phone number. Oh, it's pretty long distance. Weird. Well, we could head back to my workshop and use the phone there. My landlord has a pretty good phone plan. He's always calling home to Crane. Yeah, sounds good to me. Okay, it's up north, remember? By the lake where Punia and Wax meet. And we're back on the road. The truck's engine sputters and dies as Conway guides it carefully off the road to next to a fallen tree. Act 3, Scene 2. Part of me wonders if that's because if people didn't really like the driving segment before, or maybe they just didn't want to risk having to do the same thing twice. A tree.
Well, here we are at the tree. This is sort of static sound that Conway's left leg makes now. Nothing to be done. Just don't start up again. You have this truck long? I bought it used a ways back. I wonder how old it was then. Do you... Wait, is this why you always leave your truck running? Lisette's is up on a hill, so... I get the picture. Anyway, do you know this area? Anyone around here that could give us a hand? I drove past here yesterday. Oh, what were you doing out here yesterday? What was I doing out here yesterday? That's what I asked you. Maybe it was a dream. I dreamed that... Hey, we should call someone. Do you know a good towing company? Yep, Lucky Boot Collision and Towing. Here's their card. Lucky Boot. Alright, I'll give them a call. I hope I can get a signal out here. Janet speaks into the large brick cell phone held up to her ear. Hi, hello. We've got an old, I want to say diesel. Old truck just stalled out. Inaudible, irritable. Sure, it's late for me too. Your card says open 23 hours a day. Inaudible. Suspicious. Yeah, we have a car. I mean, it's a truck. We're broken down by the side of the road. That's why I'm calling. Inaudible. Obtuse. Oh, forceful, I guess. Sure, that works for me. Just need to get back on the road, you know? Inaudible maudlin. Is this a bad time? Inaudible. Meticulous. Is that, like, some kind of naval thing? I don't know. We're off 65 somewhere, just kind of pulled up by this tree that fell over. Inaudible. Tangential. Okay, well, I don't know any of those people, but that does sound like the right area. You've been over here before? Inaudible. Indulgent. Okay, my pleasure. How long do you think you'll be? Radio music. Hello? I think they're on their way. Guess we have some time to kill. Pretty grim place to be stuck. I wonder what happened. To the tree, I mean. Maybe it was just old. You know, what used to happen to old trees out in the forest? Wildfire would come through and clear them all out. It made room for new trees. But then people built houses, and we can't have fires going all the time, so we keep putting them out, and now we have all these old trees choking out the saplings. Starving the young trees for resources, just clinging onto life until snap. And then some road crew comes by and blasts the stump with dynamite. I think I'll take a look at that radio of yours. Maybe I can get it going again. No point just standing around. You bored? Sure, but I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind either. Let's play a game. How about 20 questions? Okay. Ezra looks meaningfully at his shoes. Got it. Okay, guess. Okay. Is it a bird? No, you're guessing too soon. Can I see it with my eye? Yes. Does it last for more than a day? Well, we put it together, and that takes a while, but then we break it apart right away. No, it doesn't last more than a day, not the way it really is. Did you make it yourself? We put it together, but we didn't make it, no. Alright, that's all your questions. What's your guess? I think I get a few more. I wasn't counting, but I'm pretty sure that's 20. Is it a jigsaw puzzle? Yeah, it's a puzzle. Julian found it at the bus station. It's a picture of a spooky underground lake. There aren't any boats, but some pieces are missing, so maybe that's where the boats are. Well, Homer. Oh, Ezra speaking this time. How long do you think we'll be waiting here? You get bored late at night? I don't. I like it better when everyone else is asleep. Well, what's Shannon up to? That thing's been broken for years. Shannon? So, we'll get to find out what station you had it tuned to when it went out. A snapshot of a younger man's tastes. Haha. Do you remember what it was? Talk radio, I guess. Well, I'm sure we'll find something to listen to on the road. Oh, a motorcycle. Who's this? Look at the trees. Johnny? Is this the right way? I don't recognize these trees. Junebug. What's to recognize? Just a bunch of trees. Johnny, just... trees are so quiet, right? Usually you hear birds, wind, a squirrel or something. Put your ears down and focus on the radio, Cricket. You're right. Maybe I'm a little bored. I'll work some chord progressions in my head for a while or something. How far out are we? Jimbo. Are we there yet? Oh, stop. Harry's not going to be happy. You know he doesn't like me anyway. I'll tell him about the frog. He won't understand. Hey, yeah. Didn't you play this on record? Go-Go was on it. Yeah, Go-Go. Go-Go. That guy's out of control. We should do a set with him. He's a creep. Yeah, that creep can play, though. What time is it? You've got a timing circuit. Yeah, but yours is more accurate. Harry's gonna flip out. That old man was born flipped. I just hope we can scrape up some tips. Hard enough when you get there on time. Just play that keyboard, I'll figure out the rest. I know. No? Johnny, they look like they could use some help. You gonna fix it up for them, Johnny? No, I don't know. A wrench from a cattle prod. I thought maybe you... I guess it's up to some good Samaritan. Someone will stop eventually, someone with nowhere else to be. No, we're already late. Going to explain all this to Harry? No way, you're the smooth talker. In fact, I bet you'd have no problem explaining we had to put out... Well, we had to stop out of the goodness of our nature and check on some wayfaring strangers. Every minute counts, Cricket. I think they had a dog. What is it with you? What is it with you and animals lately? I don't know. They have a warmth. We still have all this useless bread from the bakery gig. It's stale, but the dog won't care. Fine, just for a minute to share some bread. You're the best. And hey, maybe if they're not busy, they can fill some seats with the gig. You know, if no one's there, Harry will try and bilk us on our fee. Ezra, was that him? Calmly. That was a motorcycle. Big Boot has a big truck. Whoa, Lucky Boot has a big truck. Ezra. Yeah, they're too fast for a truck. I bet they're getting chased by something. Conway. Maybe they just have somewhere important to be. Definitely getting chased by something. Junebug to Johnny, stay here. Junebug to Ezra, careful, he's wicked with strangers. Johnny, you... Conway, you didn't have to stop, we've got a tow coming. Junebug, hear that, Cricket? We didn't have to stop. Johnny, oh, why'd we stop? Bug, that's a good question. These folks seem to have a certain handle on the situation. So? Oh, we thought you were stopping to help. Oh, Conway only gets out. Oh, Junebug. Sure, something like that. Listen, we've got 2 questions for you folks. What kind of people do you take us for? I mean, how do we strike you? Ezra, probably from space. Johnny, oh, you said you fell from heaven, ma'am. Junebug to Johnny, otherworldly. Johnny is unmistakable. Junebug, now, here's another question for you. Do you like music? Johnny, do you like music? And sometimes I like to leave the radio dialed between stations. Junebug, of course you do. Johnny, say, they should come to our gig. Junebug, what an idea. Conway, well, we're waiting for a tow. Junebug, a tow! I won't hear about it. This time of night you'll be kicking your heels till dawn. We'll fix your truck up. Me and Johnny are a couple of regular gearheads. Why, I just put a new cylinder block on this baby over here. The Weird Vector. Johnny, that's what we call our bike. Junebug, we call it the Weird Vector. Johnny, because the front wheel's a little loose. Junebug, we'll get you fixed up quick, so you can come to the gig. Junebug, see, we have a regular booking tonight, and, well, we're running late. Johnny, very late. Junebug, that's what I told them. Now the old man who runs this venue, Harry Esperanza, is a notorious withholder. If we don't get a few bodies in the crowd, he'll go all penny pinching on us. Junebug, just a short set. We only have 1 song prepared. Johnny, you'll come to the gig, won't you? Conway, of course we will. Says Conway. Junebug to Johnny, of course they will. Junebug, can you believe we almost didn't stop? Johnny to Homer, hungry old man? I think I've got a crust in the sidecar here. Junebug, but that dog of yours is such a pitiful sight. I don't remember there being a typo there. It's funny. Junebug, well, it's all said and done. We stopped. That's all that matters. Junebug, our gig's at an old tavern called the Lower Depths. It's over there by Old Charlie Moron Highway, just east off 65. We usually take a right off the interstate around the petting zoo. Johnny likes the petting zoo. Johnny, I do like the petting zoo. Junebug, now, let's see about that truck of yours. I feel certain we can get it running. Of course, we can go there directly, but I'm wondering if there's anything new. Well, maybe it's worth stopping at Cusel Hills again. Act 3, Scene 3. Use oils. Let's talk to Joseph. Yeah. Junebug's a bot. Joseph, the truck sounds like it's running kind of rough there. Better keep an eye on it. Conway. No, Shannon. We had a little engine trouble, but it's sorted out now. Joseph, glad to hear it. Electrical problem? Shannon. Not sure, actually. Our new friends here helped us get it running again. I actually don't want to hear this, Shannon. We met a friend of yours named Lula. Joseph. Oh, Yeah, I guess I should have guessed you would. Joseph, did she say anything about me? She said he used to be... Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Not really. Joseph, oh, well, I guess that was a long time ago. Ezra, do you have any games on your computer? Joseph, hey, you know what? I might. My niece works nights at the hospital, and she swung by for her lunch break an hour or two ago. She's kind of a... She doesn't talk a whole lot, but I like your company. I heard her typing away in there. You might take a look. Finally, better get going. What's on the computer? Conway taps the key, waking the computer from its reverie. Any new messages? Help desk and Rust archives. Sure. The other one is from Consolidated, of course. Requested articles. Message. Dear Mr. Wheattree, the articles you've requested have been retrieved from storage and are ready for examination. They will be held at your convenience in our primary branch until the end of the month. You may visit us between sundown and sunrise at our night facility. We are easy 3 gestures from the bureau, clockwise to the anchor, counterclockwise to the whirlpool, and then briefly clockwise. Regards. I think I completely missed this on a previous playthrough, so let's take a look when we get back on the 0, which we will. Let me just bash my mic a little bit. Regards, message 1, and what does Consolidated say? From accounts at Consolidated.mail, account resolution options urgent. Message, dear Accuse Oils, this is an urgent automated message regarding your overdue account. Your current account status is dire. New resolution options are available to you in one of our in-person account resolution centers. To ensure your account is resolved without interruption, please visit us at your convenience. From the Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces, head clockwise for quite some time until you reach the Scarecrow. Then turn around and go back to the Bat Feeder, turn around and it's a short clockwise drive on your right. And we'll take a picture of this as well. Sincerely, your friends at the Consolidated Power Company. That was worth a visit. Well, what kind of games do we have? Directory listing for games. Psychotherapist. Sports Medicine Professional 1973. Psychotherapist. Loading Psychotherapist. Ready? Run. I am the psychotherapist. Please, describe your problems. I'm lost. Do you enjoy being lost? I don't have much to compare it to. It's quite interesting. I'd like to try an exercise now. Please, close your eyes and ask another person to read the following text aloud. And Shannon is reading now. It's summer. You are sitting in a very long hall on a backless stool. The seat is upholstered in fake leather, slick with condensation. You shift your weight uncomfortably. At the other end of the very long hall, a ceiling fan beats out the rhythm of seconds. The air in the very long hall is still. You need a shave. You feel 3 rough whiskers curled around your upper lip. You shift your weight on the slick leather seat and exhale gently to displace the 3 rough whiskers curled over your upper lip. The very long hall is silent, except for the ceiling fan beating out the rhythm of seconds, and the noise of your breath as you exhale gently to displace the 3 rough whiskers curled over your upper lip. Your tongue is burned. Perhaps you drank some coffee too quickly within the last several days. Your mouth is dry, and the lights are slowly dimming. Oh, it just says I'm not supposed to read this part aloud. Okay, it's over. Directory listing for games. Let's play Sports Medicine Professional 1973. Loading Sports Medicine Professional 1973. Ready? Run. February 1973. Status: Senior. GPA 3.8. Effect: Bored. A. Study. B. Hit the bar. C. Explore the forest. Well, let's study. Let's go straight to the forest. It's raining, mud is everywhere on the wings of owls and the jowls of stray dogs. Borrowing shelter from other mammals and then waking up late, damp, and cold. Waiting for the bus with other mammals. March 1973. Status: Hiker. GPA 3.8. Effect: Bored. Study, hit the bar, or explore the forest. Well, let's study. What does this mean? Sudden or repeated hyperextension of the big toe can cause a sprain in the ligaments around the joint, a painful injury known as turf toe. April 1973, status hiker, GPA 3.85, effect bored. Let's study some more. Strains of the rotator cuff tendons can be very painful and may require the prescription of pain-relieving medicine in addition to rest and icing. May 1973, status hiker, GPA 3.857, effect bored. It's time to make a decision. A. Graduate. B. Hitchhike across country. C. Live in a tree. Well, it's cold, damp, always damp, nothing tastes or smells right, possible to relax, always on guard against the neighbors and the elements. Wildering. Score, hiker. Directory listing for games. Sports medicine professional, 1973. What happened to the psychotherapist? Well, whatever. Let's play again. Study. The anterior cruciate ligament is one of the two major ligaments in the knee and is particularly common but devastating site of injury. 3.8572, effect bored. Study. Sudden or repeated hyperextension of the big toe can cause a sprain in the ligament around the joint, a painful injury known as turf toe. For some reason we are also still a hiker. And also, it seems our GPA has not gone up at all, despite studying. Study. Strains of the rotator cuff tendons can be very painful. We've already read this one. And our GPA has not increased, and we're still in the same stats. It's funny, nothing changes. Oh, let's graduate. Everyone says it was a smart decision, but it wasn't really a decision. Still, it seems to be working out well. Moderately healthy, only in competition with human resilience. Score 3.8572. Let's play it again. Let's see what happens when you hit the bars. 2-for-1 domestics. Someone has a rifle in their truck. Late night target practice in a field. A few hours in lockup. Stern warnings and new friends. Seems nothing's changed, but we're pensive now. It's dead tonight. Shots. The bartender has her kids this weekend, which she's looking forward to. Now we're distracted. Some students are fighting over a pinball game called The History of Aviation. All well drinks half price. Striking 3 bumpers, decorated with jet engine icons, initiates mid-air collision multi-ball. One student unlocks both Daedalus and Icarus, then spills a cocktail into the coin slot. Now we're adrift. It's time to make a decision. Well, let's hitchhike across country. Eventually stop in a small town for long enough to buy a car. Back on the road begins to eat itself, so feed it to itself. Feels right. Adrift. And, what's in the forest? It's raining, mud is everywhere. Yeah, let's go again to the forest. Seasonably cold, and the mouth of the cave is surrounded by small broken sticks from a recent storm. If they weren't so damp or spread so thin and unevenly, they'd be a fire hazard. Maybe if they were all piled up in a cave to dry for a few weeks, they'd spark and smoke the bats out. And we've become a druid. Well, forest. Thick tree coverage soaks up every vapor of light pollution. The skies are uncomplicated, black and white mumbling stars. It all decimates the caravan of mice. A caravan of mice. And we're still a druid. It's time to make a decision. That's funny. And now we're done with games. No more games. Let me go into the basement. Nope. It is time to go, now that we've had some more directions to take on the Zero. And avoid you bug isn't really or anything. Or Johnny, rather. Johnny, Junebug. They don't want to stay any longer. I completely forgot there was a radio. It's a bit touchy, isn't it? We found a lo-fi station. Let's go. A picnic. A blanket is spread in the grass just off the road. It would make a reasonable spot for a picnic, sheltered in the daytime by a coffee tree. Walk to the picnic spread. Shannon walks over to the picnic spread. 5 places are set. One plate is piled with ham, another with apples. Examine the ham. Shannon pushes a piece of ham with a stick. It definitely isn't ham. Maybe felt, dried and embroidered fabric, some kind of toy ham. Someone must have been here, playing at a picnic. The supplies are weathered. Hard to tell how long ago that happened. The truck pulls into the bait shop parking lot. The bait shop is closed. Conway and Shannon walk around to the side of the building. Shannon fumbles with her key for a bit and then looks down at her feet. The locks have been changed. She writes a short but stern note about tenants' rights and pins it to the door. I guess we won't be using the phone. I wish I had all the locations you could go to written down, but I don't. I guess what's important for now is to, well, maybe we want to get on the 0. Ah, yes, the tavern. The petting zoo. The petting zoo is closed. No shit, it's the middle of the night, after a rainstorm. And so I guess that just leaves checking out these optional spots on the 0, and then we'll go to the tavern. The Clockworks. A faux rustic wooden sign hangs by chain above the door. Glasgow Clockworks, carved in a fanciful typeface and then set with what looks like brass or colored plastic. The windows are darkened, too crowded with antique clocks to make out the interior. A small metal sign bolted in the building's alley reads GTS Stop Number 5, 5:30, 7:15, 8:45, 10:15, 12:15, and then several more numbers or words worn illegible by rain. 3 people stand out at the sign. A young man with a newspaper, a young woman scribbling anxiously in a leather-bound journal, and an older woman whose face is shadowed by a wide-brimmed hat. What's in the window? Conway peers into the window. It's hard to tell where the curtain's shadows end and the dusty clock silhouettes begin. Listen at the glass. Conway rests his head against the window and closes his eyes. It feels cool. His breath fogs the glass like September. It was fall when he met Lisette. School days, neither of them were very good students. They'd cut out early and spend the afternoons in darkened bars. Sometimes she'd sing or he'd pick up bottles and the staff would pretend they were old enough to be there. Conway and Lisette would pretend too. Then he got a long-haul job, lost it on the road, and took too long coming home. He took a job from a wiry, irritable roofer named Ira. Ira brought him home to meet the wife and son, and there she was. Conway kept his mouth shut, not out of respect, but out of habit. Examine the sign. Conway examines the metal sign. It's impossible to tell how late the bus runs. Are these people just waiting? Could they have missed the last bus? Offer a ride to the man. Conway offers a ride to the man with the passenger. Whoops. To the man with the newspaper. The man accepts gratefully. His name is Keith. He lives a ways west, not far from the Museum of Dwellings, just south across 55. Can we offer more rides? Conway offers a ride to the woman with the journal. The young woman accepts cautiously. Her name is Patty. She lives near the state park, a short drive west of the Marquez farmhouse on Route 70. And one more. The old woman grumbles to herself as she climbs in the truck. Her name is Linda. She lives near the artificial limb factory, but can't be bothered for specifics. Well, let's drop her off first. Linda doesn't care for the public transportation in this area. The buses are too small. In fact, they hardly qualify. Linda worked for 25 years as a city planner in Knoxville, so she knows, but it's not her place to say, really. But if she were asked, if anyone were to ask, she'd start with public transportation. It's the pride of a civil society. It's a place, as much as a city center. It ought to be funded as such. Sure, you could spend thousands on some concrete fountain, some scene of antiquity, something really impressive, but what does that do for a polis? Who meets at a fountain to exchange ideas? Drug dealers, that's who, and maniacs. Linda meets people on the bus, or at the bus stop. That's where things get done. In Mexico City, or Montreal, or New York, the trains are so dependable that they're practically the stable place themselves. They're at least as reliable a place as Linda leaves here, with her daughter and son-in-law, in that squat gray building on the left. She owns the house, but her room is in the basement. The basement of her own house. Life is suffering, as they say. You know, I'm driving in this park, but I'm not sure if that's an actual place I need to be. This isolated stretch of railroad track, what do you know, is overgrown with wildflowers. It spans only a few hundred yards and is bracketed on each side by a pile of rotting wooden ties. The only visible stop on the railway is a squat wooden station building, brightly lit from within. Conway and Ezra enter the building. The station interior is warm. Soft orange light from a few antique fixtures, worn but finished wood floors and counters, and a compact space heater left conspicuously in the middle of the room. Train memorabilia hangs from racks on a wall. A model steam engine pulls boxcars steadily along a track threaded through the rafters. A teenager in a kitschy engineer's cap is slumped behind a cash register, asleep. Conway flips through some magazines. They all seem to be train-related magazines, but Life on the Rails. Conway opens a magazine with a photo of a homeless teenager on the cover. Life on the Rails, how a new generation is reclaiming hobo culture. It's pretty argumentative, kind of a manifesto or something. Parts of it are interviews with cops or security guards about chasing kids away from rail yards, with a lot of editorializing on the part of the interviewer. The kids look hungry. Charlie's school had this big cafeteria. He sneaked Conway in there when he was in the area once, and they had a big meal. It was late morning, and they were just closing up breakfast, so they gave Conway extra eggs. Looks like almost 3 servings. These kids should think about going to college. Better food than a damn lonely train car. A sign in front of the building just reads museum. The lights are off, but the front door is open. Conway steps to the museum's doors. A few feet inside the museum doors, the ambient sound of highway drops sharply away. The room is cold, dark, and still. 3 gray figures sweep up broken glass. Conway picks up a broom and helps clean up. They carefully sweep the glass, stopping now and then to get on their knees and pick up a large chunk or delicately brush some smaller fragments into a dustpan. Conway moves into the hall to look for a trash can. A large plastic trash bin with wheels is parked around the corner, but it's already overflowing. Where did all this glass come from? I sure wonder, Conway. Patty has an idea for a new kind of chair. Not really the whole chair, just the part on the chair that lets you adjust the height or the tilt. It could be adapted to fit almost any chair design, and it doesn't take up much space. It could be flat-packed even. It's really a much more reliable design in the long term, and using the current crop of seat adjustment mechanisms, you're always running the risk of pinching your fingers fumbling around under your chair. Not so with Patty's new design. But it's not cheap to get a prototype fabricated for such a thing. Too many moving parts, that much is unavoidable. Patty's been doing some freelance technical writing to pay the bills, and setting aside as much as she can towards the project. She calls it the project when talking to friends and family, and by now everyone knows what it means. In school, she was easily distracted. Her teachers never thought she'd really command her full potential, and so on. But it won't be long now. Patty's staying here, in that ugly amber bungalow. Again, it's only temporary. And so our last ride is to Keith, which is essentially in the opposite direction that we came from. See, the direction is just south across 65, but I'm not exactly sure. No, it's right there. Keith is an auto claims adjuster now. Just a second. Alright. Keith is an auto claims adjuster now. He went to the University of Indianapolis, mathematics with a minor in sports marketing. Halfway through his junior year in college, Keith's boyfriend ran away with an older woman. His grades fell off. He stopped shaving. His friends were concerned and suggested he take a semester off to refocus himself. He sold his car and spent 3 months traveling the country by Greyhound bus. Keith found himself in Butte, Montana, in the dead of winter, his rough beard stained with gas station coffee and his eyes clouded with travel. He bought a second coat at a thrift store and settled onto a stool in a tavern by the cemetery. Keith sipped a light beer and lost himself in a photo on the wall. A portrait of Evel Knievel. Knievel looked tired. More than tired, spent, drained, old. But Keith could have sworn those murky, bloodshot eyes were looking right into his soul, as if to tell him. Keith's apartment is here, on the left. The salmon-colored building. That's his apartment, with the blue and white star decals stuck on the window. It's really a nightmare to drive up, huh? I like how now the truck just kind of skitters along every goddamn road. Just gets stuck. Piece of shit. More have already been on this road, but I'm just taking the long route, trust me. I know where I'm going. I'm not lost at all. And also, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything again. I'm sure I missed a few other things last time. Here's the pond. A few cows drink from a small pond by the intersection. There's no fence in sight. Ezra suggests they may be wild cows, but the possibility is dismissed. He runs down to the edge of the pond, to a small pile of rocks, and throws one in. Walk to the stones. Conway walks to the pile of stones. He sifts through the pile until he finds 2 flat, smooth stones. Ezra watches with interest as Conway skips the stones across the pond. Watch Conway's wrist. Ezra pays careful attention to Conway's wrist. It's stiff for the arc of the throw, then snaps forward almost accidentally, like an umbrella breaking in the wind. Good spin on it, but there's something disquieting about that snap, and the sound it should make. Ezra takes a rock from the pile. He turns himself perpendicular to the edge of the pond, leans down, snaps his wrist, and grunts distastefully as he throws his shoulder forward. 3 skips. Not bad. It's all in that flick of the wrist. Chat, do you know any professional rock skippers? Those videos of people skipping rocks like 300 times, what are they doing? No one man should have that much power. Well, let's get back on the Zero. Of course, the Zero is not here. I'm remembering. I need to go to Marquez's place. We might not even be getting on the Zero yet. In fact, I think we're being mandated to go straight to, Not. Let's see. The farmhouse is silent and empty. The barn is still gone, so is the cave. Few horses graze in the empty field. I guess we're not going to the Zero yet. I'll just have to hold on to these directions for now. Off to the tavern with us. If I can remember. Act 3, Scene 4. The Lower Depths. Well, Homer. Feels a little like home, huh? It's not all bad memories. Gentle at times in a twisted kind of way. Maybe a little like home. The trash bin is filled. Several pairs of working shoes, a few hats, a small Ziploc bag with 3 pairs of eyeglasses. I wouldn't call that filled. But what do I know? Shannon, kind of late. Are you sure they're open? Bug, sure, they're open. This is one of those places. Conway? Let's head on in. Junebug, we are not saints, but we've kept our appointment. How many people can boast as much? Johnny, that's lovely, ma'am. Who said it? Junebug, a poet. Johnny, ma'am, I hate to say it, but the cupboard is bare. Junebug, have some vision, Cricket. We've got 1, 2, 4 patrons. Johnny, Harry doesn't count. Junebug, well, we've done more with less. Conway, haven't been in a bar like this since... Junebug, gave it up, huh? Well, I bet Harry has some coffee on back there, but I don't vouch for his quality. She's a connoisseur, says Johnny. Junebug, Johnny's favorite regional cuisine is gas station. A rough brick between 2 pieces of stale bread sits in the center of the table, surrounded by a ring of undisturbed dust, just like the sandwich in the Zero. A bulky set of black goggles sit on the edge of the table, next to an ashtray, a newspaper, and a few empty glasses. Shannon, huh. Conway, who do you think that belongs to? Shannon, whoever they are, they're gone now. Must have been pretty tanked to leave it behind. This thing look expensive. Goggles? Or the ashtray? Well, Ezra flips eagerly through the jukebox's catalog of songs. And what do you think, Ezra? I don't know how to play this game. Nice one, Ezra. Harry? Hey, it's Harry. All I'm pouring tonight is Hard Times whiskey. Conway, got any coffee going? Harry, no coffee. Hard Times whiskey. Harry, yelling towards exit. Say, shut the GD door, would you? I can't afford to run the AC all night. Connie, sorry, Harry. Harry, oh, it's you two. Where have you been? Never mind. Listen, I can't keep this place open through the small hours of the night just waiting for musicians. Junebug, gets lonely, doesn't it? Harry, yeah, kinda. Junebug. How about some music? Harry, there's nobody here to listen to it. I can't pay for... Hey, Johnny, we brought some people, Harry. Johnny, a crowd is forming. Harry, yeah, but also Junebug, don't you want to hear some music, Harry? Harry, that does sound nice after the day I've had. But Too late now. Junebug. How's it looking out there? How are y'all feeling tonight? Johnny, to Harry. Can we get a bit more reverb in the monitors? Harry adjusts the soundboard behind the bar. Harry, how's that? Johnny, test, test. 1, 1, 1, 3, 50. Lamentation. Lamentation. Sounds good. Junebug, how's everybody doing? Anybody had a real bad night? Junebug, to Conway. How about you, old man? Yeah, real bad, says Conway. Junebug, I'll try not to make it too much worse. This is a song I heard in a tavern many years ago at an open mic night. Me and Johnny were out just riding around, you know. You like to drive around, old man? That's my job. Of course, Conway only gets up that. Junebug, of course you do. So we were out riding around and we passed this gaudy old tavern. I mean, it was a real dive. Busted up facade. Johnny, weeds in the parking lot. Junebug, traps all dry. Johnny, bats in the barroom. Junebug, and run by this creaky bag of bones. Looked like the only thing keeping him awake was the fear of death. So glad to be back here at the lower depths. Right? Hey now. Junebug, so we stopped for an early drink, and there was a lady singing right there on stage, and the song she sang, well, it stuck with us. You know, it's a regular part of our repertoire. Never got that lady's name, but she seemed like a sweet gal. She had a voice like Scotch whiskey, and we just hoped we'd do her song justice. So here it is. Too late to love you. I don't want to interrupt the lyrics. Or the song, that is. Maybe you should read these yourself. Play it by ear. Yeah, so the implication, I guess, is that this is sort of a song that Lisette hypothetically could have, maybe did sing about Conway, or something of the sort. We now know that Lisette got with Ira.
Lore.
Well, Junebug. Well, hope you liked it. Conway, I've heard it before. Junebug, I don't doubt that. You look like you've spent an evening or two in a grimy old tavern. Listen, we appreciate you folks sticking around for the show. There's nothing more wretched than playing sad songs to an empty room. We've just got to get our fee from Harry, and then we'll get you headed to the, Zero. Junebug. Well, Harry, I think that went pretty well. Johnny, I'd say the crowd was into it, reverential. Rapt, says Junebug. Junebug, I guess the usual fee is about right. We'll let you back to your business. Harry, well, that's just the... Damn it, I was just trying to tell you two. I can't pay. They cleaned me out. Got nothing left but a GDIOU from the distillery. Johnny, an IOU. Harry, yeah, I traded for some whiskey, and I guess I had some surplus credit, so I got this note to get some more from them later on. Johnny, must have been a hell of a trade. Harry, I had to. Got to keep this place open somehow, goddammit. Johnny, watch your language, Harry. Johnny, could he pay them with your IOU? Harry, well, Junebug, very contemporary, very astute. How about it, Harry? Let's push some paper around. Harry, well, it's just... I can collect on it here when they bring more whiskey up, but for you to cash in, you'd have to go down to, down to the distillery, down to hard times, and you've got to take the Zero. Junebug, so that's what we'll do. How do we get there? Harry, are you folks sure you want to head down there? I've never been myself, but I hear... People hear things, rumors. Conway, you know another way to Dogwood Drive? Harry, Dogwood? Got a letter, did you? I've got a stack of them. Well, okay. Sounds like the Zero's your only course now. Junebug, Harry, you're all right. Harry, if only. You got a radio in your car? Yep. Well, here's what you've got to do. Take a left out of the parking lot, and then just fiddle around in your dial until you hear something familiar, familiar, but strange. You know the feeling? Like, I used to go hunt with my uncle out in the mountains, and now I watch these nature programs. They're filmed in the mountains, and there's the deer, and I know all the plants and every kind of tree, but something just doesn't look right. It's even stranger for being so close to familiar. Something like that. You'll know it when you hear it. Fix that strange but familiar station on your dial, drive for a bit, and then turn around when the station cuts out. Right then. You folks find out what you're looking for. Eventually. Johnny, always a pleasure, Harry. Harry, is it? Station doesn't quite match the bartender's description. Weird, though. Let's keep scanning. He said he'd know when we hear it. We'd know when we hear it. Shannon, what's this station? I've never heard this before. It sounds like horses. Horses are running? A race? Conway. He said Naira had horses years back. And, yeah, I've always been a little afraid of them. They're so big and... I don't know. You look in their eyes and they're almost human. Like they're human and animal at the same time, since they've been domesticated for so long, I guess. Well, that fits familiar, but... Well, Well, that fits familiar but strange for me. Harry said we just drive until it cuts out? We are back at a 0. Hmm. The Hard Times Distillery in IOU. Hmm. Well, let's go to Rust first. Seems to me like we really want to go to the Hall of the Mountain King. Oh. Let's turn around here and have a look. Anyways, if we come back, I'll just go, right? Act 3, Scene 5. Hall of the Mountain King. The bridge ends abruptly, crumbling in disrepair. They don't keep the roads up too well, do they? Not down here. So empty. Just let it go, I guess. Johnny, time to cut him loose, ma'am? Bug. Well, now I'm having fun. Where is Conway going? Johnny. Okay. Slow night anyway. Slow night anyway. The rope for. A loop of decayed rope is coiled on the banister. Some rotted sections have been smoothed over with a fine dust. A stack of computers. Broken computer monitors are heaped precariously among the rocks. Well, let's keep climbing. A pet carrier for a cat or a small dog has been left by the path. A calcified rag wadded in the corner may once have been a blanket. A hiking backpack leans against a rock. It's empty except for a dusty bag of cat food and a few punch cards. Punch cards. A fire. A pile of discarded electronics burns steadily in the center of the chamber. Or what? Forget I can zoom in. Amy? Oh, it's triangles within triangles down here, shifting, intersecting, overlaying. Isn't it romantic? Let's see. Talking now to Shannon. You're here to steal back the love of a boy you once knew when you were too young to recognize the movements of the heart. To Conway. And you're escorting her, pretending to have her interests at heart. Well, really? Amy to Junebug. Really, you're in love with the young woman as well, so you've agreed to help him conspire with her affections, but it's just a ploy to set him up for embarrassment and diminish him out of the picture. Shannon. What are you talking about? Amy. No, you're right. It's insipid. Derivative. I used to be really good at this. I had 11 novels published, from The Billionaire's Bidding to Fields of Longing. Real hot, bodice-ripping stuff, you know? I miss those days in my Lexington studio apartment. Just me and my thesaurus steaming up the windows. Shannon to Ezra. I'm not sure you should be listening to this kid. Ezra. I'm not listening. Amy. But of course I couldn't last. You know, suddenly it was all computers everywhere you went. I thought I might be able to do something with that, inject a little libido into those ugly beige boxes. So I went back to the university and I studied human-computer interaction, and then I picked up Donald's research assistantship here as a tester, debugging. In my off hours, I played around with the doomed love story at the core of our little simulation. That seemed to amuse Donald, so I kept at it. I'm afraid I tinkered too much, made it too complex, and our work is never done. We don't even have to add any new functionality. The bugs just grow on their own, too complex. I miss those days in my Lexington studio apartment. A woman in a tattered cardigan looks furtively at the other people around the fire. Well, let's say the old man. Donald puffs on a smoldering pipe while half mumbling, half singing an old country tune. Where did that old green river run? Through hills and caves not known to us, down to that sunless sea. Oh, who are you? Conway. Sorry, did we startle you? Donald. I might say you did. I thought you might be one of them. Oh, no, you can't be. We've been patching all their spy holes. We keep the lights dim and the motors running softly, and we route the smoke out through... What is... What were we talking about? Shannon. What's the computer over there? Looks pretty vintage. Excuse me. It looks like a harmless old computer, doesn't it? Like some beat-up mainframe, exhumed from a university basement and left in this cave to rot, or to flower. No, it's no ordinary computer. I've modified it extensively, and in some pretty experimental ways, believe you me. That's not to say nothing of the software, but... To Shannon. You look like a technically minded sort of person. Tell me, do you know the effects of mold growth on diffused-based transistor circuitry? Shannon. The mold would burn up. Exactly. It burns, and oh, the sweet smoke that issues from it. but it also leaves a sticky residue to seep through the machine, forming new connections and creating new circuits. The computer is no longer the pure domain of language or mathematics, but entropy. Boarded and feeble, we hammer on this derelict keyboard. My name is Reason, King of Kings. But we are mere tourists in the ruins. Our keystrokes echo off into the tunnels. Boundless and bare, the caves stretch far away. You're too late. Always too late. What? Did you say something? Got it. You were about to tell us about the software. Donald. Oh, the software. My life's work. Xanadu. You've heard of it? Perhaps you've read about it in a journal. It's been years since I published anything. Xanadu has evolved significantly since I explained its data structures in my article, Literary Multitudes Hypertextual Narrative as Post-Structural Witness. Evolved and then deteriorated. Oh. And then takes a puff from his pipe. I'm afraid you are too late, fellow hypertext enthusiast. As the mold accumulated on the circuitry, Xanadu blossomed for a moment into something holy and enchanted. Then all the charm was broken. Do you have any idea what it's like to spend your life building something and then sit powerlessly as your work declines into ruin? Ezra, my family disappeared. Julian and me don't know what to do. Of course, all of these choices kind of exemplify the fact that everyone's familiar with these feelings. Donald. So, wandering without the ones who give us purpose, like a ghost. Well, I have my own ghosts, and I keep them in there, in Xanadu. It's running on that glorious, dusty machine. Take a look if you like. Too late to do anything but smoke and reminisce anyway. Far too late to do anything. And Andrew. Andrew. Do you know that when I first... No, I mean, if this cave were larger, could it... I'm getting ahead of myself. I've got it. How would you characterize this space, the one we're standing in now? Junebug. It's a mess. Andrew. A catastrophe, or the site of some ancient catastrophe anyway. Sure, the evidence is all around us. Junebug. The shadows make it hard to tell how big it is. Andrew. Sure, but they're not just shadows, right? I mean, they could be. They're projections, or maybe they're anatomies. How's that? Can you tell where we are now, surrounded by creeping anatomies? Close your eyes. Can you close your eyes? Shannon. Not happening. Oh, how disappointing, says Andrew. Junebug. What are all these computers for? Andrew. Computers? Oh, now I remember. I was writing on them. I described the cave. That was my job. Describe the cave. That's a great history of caves in the literature, don't you know? The walls are frozen rivers of orange stone. Isn't that vivid? I had a lot to live up to. I was a grad student, studying statistics when I had started working with Donald on his project. He said we needed someone with a more analytical mind to do the descriptive writing. Someone who would appreciate the cave descriptions as real labor instead of taking their authorial voice for granted. Donald warned me it would be long hours of typing painstakingly detailed descriptions into the computer. And I've put in the hours, believe me, I've put in the hours. I've described every facet of this cave in such detail that sometimes I don't know if I'm reading or looking, writing or exploring. Often, in the dark and lonely moments, I worry that in my sleep I've transcribed rooms from my dreams into the system. How would we know? They could only be entered with precise, faithful detail. That's all I know how to write, and all I dream about is caves. I only dream of caves. A man wearing large glasses inspects the ceiling. Oh, good for you, Andrew. And the gate? A massive gate constructed out of scavenged materials blocks passage down the far side of the spire. Well, that's too bad. Well, Roberta? The kingdom is in peril! Roberta laughs. Well, what else is new? Why? You work here? Roberta. Work. You could call it that. I gather old circuit boards and throw them in the fire. Sometimes I fish out precious metals and let them cool into toxic gems. I put them in my hair. Enchanted jewelry, talismans, a magic mirror that prevents the future, a magic shield that protects the barrier from age. Whoa, the bearer from age. A magic chest that's always filled with... I never went to the university. I was an independent scholar. It means I took to the public libraries like a beach buckcomber. Whoa, a beachcomber. I studied fairy tales. And then I came to work for Donald. I paid the bills, rubbed leathering elbows on academics, with academics. If I could read, that'd be very nice. Scrapped black mold from... Scrapped. As I said, if I could read, that'd be very nice. Scraped black mold from cave walls. Finally, now I carry the firewood into senescence. The kingdom is in peril. A woman within a long, worn shirt stares at the fire, lost in thought. Now I could take a good look at Xanadu. Baffling control panels are sheltered from the elements with a worn tarp. A closet-sized wall of knobs and wires looms behind the machine, humming faintly. An electric typewriter is the only easily recognizable component. Well, Shannon, how do you think we get it started? Junebug, this old thing? Maybe there's a hand crank around. Oh, it has a run key. And so we run it. We've run out of tea. And we still got a good way to go. Act 3, Scene 6. Xanadu. Or coffee, rather. I have coffee, not tea. That den of our... Xanadu. You are starting at the... Oh, this is not legible, really. Junebug. This thing's in rough shape. Shannon. Do these switches do anything? Only flipped an unlabeled switch. Does not seem to be improving. There's a house on the monitor now, kind of. Checking. Okay, that's worse. Junebug. It kind of looks like a house. Type house. I'm way typing house. On a typewriter, no less. How does that look? In blood. This isn't good. Shannon, did that say Lula? Conway typing Lula. Lula. Donald. In Edmonton? School of Music. Huh. Very legible, yes. Damn, I still can't tell what she's saying. Oh, I have my portable degusser with me. Old systems like this one can build up remnant magnetic field that sort of warps everything along whatever pattern it's settled into, you know? The degusser clears that up by suddenly shaking the magnetic field around it until it's uniform again. That's how I like to think of it anyway, like shaking a snow globe. Worth a shot. All of the Mountain King. Well, maybe it needs another. No good. Well, okay. End of file. Press any key to quit. Junebug. This is a lost cause. What a piece of junk. Act 3, Scene 7. All of the Mountain King. Shannon. Bizarre. What was that about Lula? Maybe Donald knows how to clear it up a bit. Where are you, Donald? Donald. So, you've seen it for yourself. What's left of it? Bug. Pretty busted. Donald. Chalky bones of a beautiful dream. You can see what it once was, can't you? Can't you? There's so much more to it. Ornate labyrinths of memory, exhaustively simulated parallel cave ecosystems, real artificial intelligence built on sophisticated neural network algorithms. The birds in the forest could flock in 3 dimensions, the bats could learn to sing. And then it began to crumble when the strangers came. First we only heard them, walking heavily through the caves, dragging things around, hammering and clattering their tools. Sometimes we heard working songs, never close enough to make out real voices, just their echoes cascading wordlessly into the tunnels. Then we caught a glimpse of one. What did they look like? They look like... No, it's too horrible. I shouldn't be telling you about this. They're dangerous. They're strange. I should never have tried to outwit them. There was too much for me, but it's too late now. If I'd listened to Lula, I'd... Shannon. Lula? Lula Chamberlain. Donald. Yes, of course. Do you know her? Shannon. We're looking for her now. Donald. No, she's gone now. She left. We built this together, did you know? Lula, Joseph, and I. Lula's gone from here, but... Donald points across the cave with his pipe. Still in there, in Xanadu. I don't know where Lula is now, or how to get there from here, or how to unwind that damned tangled highway, but Xanadu, before its ruin, was faultless as an oracle, a shrine to perfect simulation. Until... maybe. Those weird interlopers destroyed my Xanadu. Perhaps they know how to fix it. It may be dangerous. I've sent my many eager seconds to negotiate with them, to repair my masterpiece. Back there, that tunnel. Push back the vines. Crawl out into the darkness. Watch your step. After a while, you'll feel the terrain change beneath your hands and knees, from rock to crystal and then to mud, and you'll be out. That's where the strangers come from. Now leave me alone. I still have a bit of mold in my pipe and a few dreams left. Act 3, Scene 8. Where the strangers come from. Shannon. Well, this can't be right. Looks like an old church. Conway. Worth a look inside. Shannon, I guess. Ezra, I want to stay outside. Conway. Why? Ezra, I think I saw a lizard. Bug, I'll stay with them. Shannon. Okay, we'll make it quick. Plenty to see. An epitaph is engraved on the stone grave marker. Engraving, Dennis Comerford, generous disposition will be missed. Below the inscription, a note is written in white chalk. Chalk, HT8191T, fill date, June 29th, notes of almond. Well, Junebug, what do you think of all this? Junebug, find any lizards? I wasn't really looking. Nice cover story, kid. That guy your boyfriend? Talking about, Johnny. Nah, what's a boyfriend anyway? It's a word people use because everyone else does. Doesn't mean anything to me. He's my cricket. See? It means something. It's specific. Ezra, I want to be specific. Bug. I think you are. It's the middle of the night, and here you are in a graveyard. Any other kid your age would be in bed. Bug. Again. You've just got to make choices and own them. You think I was born this foxy? I came off the assembly line about half a foot shorter and all gray, no eyes. They were going to have us clearing out the old mine. Doesn't matter what you look like under all that rock and water. A bunch of gray shadows shoveling and hammering invisibly at the walls, draining the tunnels. Johnny found some gear, an old tape player. We hid away in an underwater cave and listened to it over and over, and we knew we weren't miners. We slipped out onto the road, just these two featureless shadows, and ever since that night we've been detailing, coloring in, specifying. Feel more like myself every day. Ezra, I feel more like myself when it's just me and Julian. Bug, well there, now you're getting specific. I don't remember if you could have seen all of the gravestones, but I do think they're all just clarifying that the gravestones are just storing the aging whiskey. Junebug, there you are. What do you find in there? Shannon, it wasn't. Junebug, hey, what's going on? You look flushed, old man. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Shannon, right, okay, we got what we need. Let's go. Act 3, Scene 9. Hall of the Mountain King. Donald, singing softly, trace an orbit round the road, and close your eyes with holy dread, for we on mold and whiskey fed, and drink from rivers down below. I don't know what the tune would have been. Shadow. Whoa, Shannon. We found your strangers. We know how to fix your damn machine, but I'm not sure it was worth it. Donald. Oh, soon the visions will return. What have you found? Shannon. They say you need to type in a specific phrase to restore it. Donald. Oh, a bit of a poem to rally the illustrious spirit. Of course. Well then, type away. By all means, do not hesitate. Type away. And now we switched to Shannon for some reason. Oh golly gee, I wonder why we're playing as Shannon now instead of as Conway. I wonder what happened in that church. Guess we can wonder what happens in all churches. What does Shannon think of this anyway? It's the same. Shannon. Okay, we're supposed to type dome in air. Junebug. Weird. Shannon, just following instructions. Here we go. Act 3, Scene 10. Xanadu. You know, part of me feels like I remember that that's pronounced differently, but I don't remember what it would have been, so bear with me. Wow, it's so elegant and lively, and it's synthesizer music. And I'm gonna press the Deval's button a few times just to fuck around. Xanadu. At end of road. Xanadu. You are standing at the end of a road before a small brick building. Around you is a forest. Let's do what Ezra thinks. Go into the forest. Conway, typing. Enter forest. Xanadu. That's not something you can enter. Shannon, just type a direction. Conway typing north. In forest. You are in open forest with a deep valley to one side. Ezra, can we climb a tree? Conway typing climb tree. Xanadu, I don't think much is to be achieved by that. Conway, sorry. Ezra, can we dig a hole? Conway typing dig a hole. Xanadu, you can't see any such thing. Shannon, pretty limited vocabulary. Conway typing south. Xanadu, you're in forest. Junebug, hey, it's a maze. Junebug, south? Conway typing south. Xanadu, you're in forest. Lula is here, soldering replacement components and a small handmade radio. Oh, we should talk to her, says Shannon. Conway typing, ask Lula how she is doing. Lula, hi Donald. I'm getting the strangest interference out here. I've been tuning the radio circuits gradually as we go, swapping capacitor values and tweaking resistor networks. It was working for a while, but everything I can pick up sounds so distant and muffled. Xanadu, Lula hands you the radio. Lula, well, maybe you'll have better luck. You're good at this stuff, just don't forget to give it back. Let's get going south. Well, typing south. You're in a forest. Joseph is here, tapping with a small stylus on a modified pocket braille slate. A small gray kitten, no more than a few weeks old, dozes comfortably on top of his backpack. Maybe he has something to say, says Shannon. Conway listens. Joseph? Donald. It was just... Joseph says, Donald, I was just transcribing your footsteps. Sounded like... Joseph runs his finger along the index card he's been tapping on from right to left. Long, weary song, drearily gone. Dearly gone. You beat a melancholy shuffle through these woods, Donald. Joseph. I've been noting down the sounds of the forest, with an ear for speech and an inborn filter for poetry, I suppose. So maybe it's me being melancholy after all. Joseph. I'm eager to see what the poetic subsystem makes of these punched cards. South again. At edge of hole. You are at the edge of a massive hole. The dirt gives way to rock as the ground sinks into darkness. Computer tied to your upper back slickens with sweat in the afternoon sun. The rope slung around your shoulder has slipped under the strap of your backpack, digging uncomfortably against your collarbone. So, yell into the hole first to see if they're pirates. Conway typing, yell. Then I only understood you as far as wanting to yell. Conway typing, yell, any pirates down there? Xanadu, no response. Jen, sorry kid, you're batting 0 today. Ezra, at least we know there's no pirates. Jen, lean in a bit and check it out. Conway typing, down. Xanadu, the cave walls are too slick to climb safely without assistance. You lose your footing and fall to your death. We died. Rest in peace. Xanadu, your score was 0 of a possible 8192. Shannon, what? Xanadu, you may continue or quit. Conway typing, continue. Shannon, try using a rope to climb down more safely. Conway typing, tie rope to tree. Xanadu, the rope is tied snugly to a tree trunk. Conway typing, down. Xanadu, your feet slip a few times on the slimy rock, but you remain stable. Lula and Joseph descend carefully after you. In bed quilt. Say, there's a certain band in this game that does the songs. Xanadu, You are in Bed Quilt, a long east-west passage with holes everywhere. Joseph and Lula remove the computer equipment they're carrying on their backs and begin setting up. That's the last strip, so everything's down here now, says Lula. Junebug says, set up the gear. Fenway typing, set up gear. Xanadu, I only understood you as far as wanting to set out the up above. And then set the up above? Xanadu. Lula looks pensive. Junebug, what's the gear they're carrying? Fenway typing, ask Lula about gear. Lula, sure, Donald. We may as well take inventory. I've got the tape machine and the synthesizer parts we borrowed from the School of Music. It's all tuned up to my voice, so we won't have to type so much. Joseph has his slate and the punched cards he's transcribed from the poems we read him. He's got the typewriter and the paper tape reader. And you've got the CRT display. How's your back holding up? Shannon, ask her about the cave. Fenway typing, ask Lula about cave. Lula, having second thoughts? I don't blame you. It's unsettling down here. Weird acoustics. Earlier, as we were climbing down, I thought I heard voices for a moment, or not voices themselves, but the echoes of voices, singing. Some kind of eerie, tuneless working song. I'm glad I'm not down here alone. Xanadu. Joseph looks uncomfortable. Junebug. Jealous. Joseph. Hey, Donald, can you help me, wire up these generators? Lula. I'll assemble the synthesizer, but I could use some help with the serial interface if you have time. Xanadu. You hear an unfamiliar echo from a tunnel to the east. Shannon. Maybe if we help Lula, she'll have some more to tell us. Conway. Typing. Help Lula. Lula. Thanks, Donald. I can never remember which color lead goes to which pin. Xanadu. Lula begins unpacking a box of wires and terminals. Do you think there are paintings down here? Cave paintings, I mean. Some old pottery shards. From when the world was young and early men... Whoa. From when the world was young and early men and women huddled in these caves to... Do you know, I think cultural fossils are the saddest fossils. Sadder than animal remains, I mean. We might come across a petrified mollusk or a partial dinosaur footprint and we say, there was a point of contact here where a body touched the earth, and maybe there's a little bit of evidential garbage, but the life who owned the body never cared and has moved on anyway. And that's the end of it. But suppose I shine my lantern on one of these walls and I see a crude painting, thousands of years old, two men and women, charcoal and blood on rock. Someone put that there to keep something on the rock after she passed, a hope, a relationship, or a moment. A worry, maybe a regret. She made a painting to keep something alive for her, but like the dead mollusk, that itinerant dinosaur, she had to move on. Whatever it was is gone, and now we're looking at this painting, this dangling copy with no original. Xanadu, you are interrupted by the ominous echo of a grating, scraping sound from the east, louder than before. Joseph, what the hell was that? Lula, let's check it out. In tunnels. Oh, Nora Stable. The degausser is funny. I've always wanted a CRT with a degausser button on it. Senator, you rush down the tunnel with Joseph and Lula close behind. Shannon, that got kind of intense back there. And no wonder they're still thinking about it. Xanadu, the tunnel narrows and soon you find yourself crawling on your hands and knees. Navigating the tunnel gradually becomes more awkward as smooth rock gives way to jagged, crystalline surfaces. Scratches and taps echo from the end of the tunnel, some sort of piercing, some slower and groaning as if dampened by water. The tunnel opens into a large room. In Crystal Room. Is this the boys from Hard Times? Xanadu, you are in a large irregular chamber. The walls, floor, and ceiling are covered with crystalline projections. Strangers are here, scraping black mold from the crystals. They look up when you enter, One of them seems about to speak. Ezra, finally! And let's listen to what he says. Xanadu, the stranger reaches for a box he's carrying and presses a plastic button. The box whirs to life and a crackly voice blurts something unintelligible, then slows to a deep gurgle. He looks at his companions momentarily in confused disappointment. Then he returns his awful gaze to you. Xanadu, again. Joseph flees through a tunnel to the north. Lula flees through a tunnel to the northeast. Let's follow Joseph. Runway typing, run north. Joseph scrambles across outcrops of crystal as you struggle to follow him in the dark. He calls back breathlessly. What happened to Lula? Lula, are you back there? Says Joseph. Shannon. Stay and look for her. Runway typing, look for Lula. Can't see any such thing. Joseph. Donald, you have to find her. Make sure you find her. Xanadu. Joseph climbs through the cave into the darkness. Runway typing, look for Lula. Xanadu. You can't see any such thing. The strangers return to their work scraping the crystals. There is no sign of Lula now. You should leave. In bed quilt. Xanadu. You are in bed quilt, a long east-west passage with holes everywhere. Joseph is here, panting for breath. Joseph. Damn, did they follow us? Where's Lula? Shannon. He seems pretty scared. Conway typing. Reassure Joseph. Joseph. Hell with you. I told you to find her, you son of... Joseph. Enough. This is where she'll go, right? We'll wait for her. Here. She'll be okay. She's tougher than either of us. Shannon. May as well wait. Conway typing. Wait. Time passes. Joseph nervously pets the kitten in his coat pocket. Junebug. Search for her. Conway typing. Search. Xanadu, I only understand you as far as wanting to search. Shannon. We have to be more specific. Junebug. With the equipment? Conway typing. Search equipment. Various computer and audio equipment casts angular shadows into the tunnels as you scan slowly across the pile. Nothing. Junebug. Down one of the tunnels. Conway typing. Search tunnel. You select a tunnel at random. Your lantern illuminates several sets of footprints on the moldy cave floor, but they are impossible to identify. Lula climbs down from the rope, still tied above. Lula, is it you, or more shadows? Xanadu. Lula advances carefully. It really is you, isn't it? I got lost out there in the tunnels. For a while I thought I was running in circles, or some kind of labyrinth. Every rocky wall and floor looked the same. Finally I ended up here. I hid out for a bit, waiting for you. I heard voices, but I wasn't sure, not after what I've seen. I heard voices and I wasn't sure, not after what I've seen. While I was out there, I spent some time on the Zero. What? Why? Says Joseph. Joseph, it's different than what we've heard. It's like a real place. They pick up garbage, they deliver mail, they go to work and to church. My most vivid memory is a parade of images, like a waking dream or a slide lecture I'll never understand. A television, a scarecrow, a crystal, a feather, a sandwich, a CRT monitor, a bottle, an anchor. Joseph seems agitated. And we should ask her more about it. Conway typing. Ask Lula about the Zero. Lula, it's calling to me, Donald. It seems important. Joseph. Important? It doesn't matter now, damn it, I'm leaving. To hell with all of it. Junebug. Whoa, we should stop him. Conway typing. Stop Joseph. Xanadu. You shout something at Joseph about the project you are working on together. Joseph. You'll die in these damn cold caves, and what about those men? You know they'll come back. Shannon. Tell them we can hide from the strangers. Conway typing. Suggest finding a hiding place. You shout something at Joseph about going deeper into the caves. Joseph, did you hear their voices? They'll find you, but not me. I'm going back to the surface. Lula, stop. Your stupid fight is ringing through the whole damn cave. Joseph is right. We can't stay here. I'm leaving too, but I'm not going back to the surface. I'm taking my station wagon and I'm heading down the Zero. Shannon, I think we need her to stay. Conway typing. Ask Lula to stay. You plead with Lula about your continued collaboration. I'll send you this tape when I'm done recording, says Lula. I'll put it in the mail, and then you can see what your damn machine does with it. Lula and Joseph have left. Abandoned by your collaborators, your confidants, your companions, the only two among your colleagues with whom you've ever trusted the gift of your friendship. Pretty thick. Sounds like Beardo had his heart broken, says Junebug. You wander the tunnels alone, dragging along the components of your unrealized masterpiece, combing the underground passages for a new site in which to realize your vision. Junebug. Sounds like a genius. Shannon. How do you mean? Junebug. Vain. Shannon. Vanity. Ain't it the truth? My aunt, Remedios, before she got into the whole ethnomusicography thing, she was a painter, mostly nudes and oil. She had this model, I'll never forget him. Big, classically physical guy, looked like he was about to storm Troy. He made everyone call him the Colonel. Weaver and I saw this guy naked a lot, and you couldn't help it. He was always posing somewhere in the house, chasing the light from room to room, while Aunt Remedios made a sketch of his profile or worked on the right mix of pigments for his abdomen. The Colonel had this magnificent hair, long black hair that ran down just about the bottom of his shoulder blades. One evening, he was standing next to an open window in the back of the house. The sun was setting. Early spring, I think. It was kind of windy. Aunt Remedios was trying to get his hair right. She kept arranging it, like half in front and half behind, running over his shoulder and laying across his chest in this very specific way. But it itched him or something, and he'd do this weird indignant shuffle thing, or the wind from the open window would push it around, and he'd start turning his neck when Weaver or I ran by, and everything would be tangled again. The final product was a swirl of black lines billowing around the top of his neck. Weird thing is, I don't even remember his face now, just that black swirl. Probably the best one she ever painted. Back in the Hall of the Mountain King. Oh. We're here. After what may have been years, you stumble out of a tunnel into a cavernous open space. Stalactites adorn the ceiling like grotesques. In the center of the room is an enormous rocky spire. This is where you will set up your equipment and establish your legacy. And now we're looking at Xanadu, okay. Now is the time to continue your work. Research assistance 0, realism index 37%, romance index 2%, mold coverage 0%. You may hire a new research assistant, assign assistance to a task, or sleep until tomorrow. I say we should hire a new research assistant. Typing hire. Uploading job advertisement to university message boards. You have hired Andrew, who studies statistics. Assign assistance to a task. Typing assign. You may assign research assistants to debugging, transcription, or speculation. Transcription, says Shannon. Xanadu, assigning available research assistant. Who? Transcription. Shannon, hire a new research assistant. Conway typing, hire. Xanadu, uploading job advertisement to university messaging boards. Xanadu, no new applicants. Try again later. Assign assistants to a task. Assign. You currently have no available research assistants to assign. Sleep. Sleep. Time passes. Andrew extensively notates tunnel diameter as a function of length. Now is the time to continue your work. Research assistant 1, romance index 0, mold coverage 8%. Xanadu, you may hire a new research assistant, assign assistants to a task, or sleep until tomorrow. Hire a new research assistant. Typing hire. Upload job advertisement to university message boards. You've hired Roberta, who studies fairy tales. Assign assistants to a task. Typing assign. Debugging transcription speculation. How about Speculation. You have 2 research assistants available today. How many? Assign how many to speculation. Let's do both. And I'm typing 2. Let's see if we can hire anybody else. Hire. Nope. Sleep. Sleep. Time passes. Andrew discards centuries of exhaustive data on the uniformity of cause and effect. Roberta makes a convincing argument for the edibility of stone. We see black mold is collecting on the computer equipment. Now is the time to continue your work. Research assistants 2. Realism index 32%. Romance index 20%. Mold coverage 17%. Hire assigned sleep. Hire. You've hired Weaver, who studies mathematics. Weaver? That's crazy. We will now assign everyone to speculation. Time passes. Weaver muses about the love lives of fungal colonies. Roberta posits that nature, not reason, is the master of industry. Andrew has ideas. Xanadu, intruders! The strangers are doing something to the equipment, but you can't make out what. You hide behind a rock until they leave. With trepidation, you emerge from your hiding space. Hours later. Now is the time to continue your work. Shannon, I'm not convinced this is getting us any closer to the 0. Research assistants 3. Realism index 14%. Romance index 66%. Mold coverage 0%. Hire, assign, or sleep. Let's hire. Yes. We've hired Rick. Assign. Debugging. I didn't mean to do that. I actually, in fact, debugging was entirely unnecessary. I should have done transcription. Time passes. Andrew makes adjustments to the echolocation algorithm. Bats now fly normally instead of getting hung up on each other's wings and clustering together like horrible leathery tumbleweeds. Weaver widens tunnels slightly to reduce the need for extra crouch commands. Roberta carefully transcribes the sounds of dripping water in all their variations over a period of several hours. Rick summarizes the migratory patterns of bats through the tunnels. Weaver follows the strangers into the tunnels. She doesn't return, but neither do they. Now is the time to continue your work. We have 3 research assistants because Weaver left. How convenient. Relatively low mold coverage. It's time to get researching. Hire someone new. You've hired Greg, who studies architecture. Okay. Let's hire... put 2 on speculation. And then... what? And, debugging? No. Time passes. Roberta had ideas. Greg had ideas. Andrew had ideas. Rick had ideas. We see black mold is collecting on the computer equipment. Now is the time to continue your work. Maybe we should try to start over or something? This doesn't seem to be helping. I agree. Try to quit and start over. Ezra, I want to keep playing. Come on, kid, we've got stuff to do, says Shanna. Conway typing, quit. Andrew, are you sure you want to quit? Conway typing, yes. Andrew, that was a rhetorical question. Quit game? Conway typing, quit game. I only understand you as far as wanting to quit. If we have to lose or die or somehow in order to start over? Ezra, eat the lamp. Conway typing, eat lamp. Xanadu, don't be ridiculous. Maybe we have to wait it out. Conway typing, wait indefinitely. Xanadu, time passes. Research assistants come and go. You don't encounter the strangers again, but sometimes you can hear the uncanny echoes of their voices off in the tunnels. Years pass. Mold accumulates. You and the remaining research assistants take to burning disused equipment in the center of the room. The black mold is intensely flammable and makes an excellent catalyst. It leaves behind a sweet, narcotic perfume. One night, you have visitors. Outsiders, different ones. Then later that night, an old friend. Lula really did go deeper into the caves. Xanadu, premature and a file. Press any key to quit. Shannon. Huh. Act 3, Scene 11. Hall of the Mountain King. But in real. I guess we can talk to everyone again. Or, well, Lula's here in real life after having waited indefinitely. Let's talk to Donald first. Lula, to Donald. You really did go deeper into the caves. Well, you were easy enough to find. I've met a few of your former assistants. One can't help but hear things. So, this is what became of your project. Donald. Oh, I've made some additions. Joseph stole the data tapes for the first half, so I've had some blank spots to fill. Lula. Yes, I know. He published his version, actually. I'm sorry to report that it's a bit tediously sentimental. Shannon. We've been looking for you. Lula. So you found the address data? Just pass it over to Donald here. Donald, will you be a dear and crunch these numbers? We're looking to sort out a street name collision. Dogwood Drive. Shannon. Wasn't the Bureau going to process it? Donald. I insist. I have cycles to spare. I just pack my pipe and get to it. I should only be an hour or so. Andrew will carry it over to... Lula. I'll be at the Bureau for the rest of the night. Just mark it private materials for the attention of Senior Clerk Chamberlain. Conway. How do we get to the Bureau from here? Donald. The bridge. Lula. Yes, the bridge. Through the gate over there. Donald. Sentimental. Now we, too, recede into history. Lula. Good night, Donald. Lula to Shannon. Meet me at the Bureau and we'll get you on your way. Head counterclockwise to the cathode ray, then turn around. Then it's just clockwise until you find the Bureau. Between us, I think you should drive. The gate is open. Oh wait, these are new things, huh? A hiking backpack leans against a rock. It's full of empty wine bottles and library books. Someone has left a portable tape recorder on the path. It doesn't appear damaged, but there's no tape to play or record. The bookshelf was carried only part way up the path here, before the project was abandoned. It's still useful. The peak of the spire is crowded anyway. A sensible modern electric lantern has been left here. The batteries have long since died. What would you give in exchange for your soul? Well, Homer. Thanks for waiting, Homer. You were gone a bit longer than expected. Ran into some trouble, Homer, I won't lie to you. Those are playing as Shannon, no? Johnny, what happened up there? Just a bunch of computers. Johnny yawns. They head back into the night. And we're back on the Zero proper. Which means I can visit these optional areas. I'm supposed to turn out the cathode ray tube, so I guess I'm being punked. There we go. I guess first we'll head to Rust. Which is clockwise to the acre, counterclockwise, whirlpool. Two figures crouch over a pile of wood a few yards from the creek, occasionally hammering or making adjustments. Approach the creek. Junebug pulls the bike closer to the creek. What looked from the abandoned road like a haphazard pile of wood is actually a worn boat. It's in poor repair. Perhaps it was abandoned and only recently salvaged. Shout a greeting. Johnny shouts a greeting. There's too much work to be done. Rotten planks need to be pulled and replaced, nails to be driven, gaps caulked. Turn down the field recorder. Johnny switches on the field recorder. The recorder's red light flips on with a hum. The take-up reel rolls forward silently for a moment before catching the tape and beginning the recording. One of the figures stops working, sets down a caulk gun, and looks over at Johnny. The other finishes tearing at a bit of rotten wood stuck on the hull, then turns. After a minute or two, Johnny stops the recorder. Follow that one under water sounds. Well, now we're back at the start. What? Clockwise to the anchor. Counterclockwise to the whirlpool. There we go. The Rust archives are housed in a low wooden building with angular flourishes and glass. Shannon enters alone, walking up a pillow. Whoa, there is no pillow there. Walking up a shallow ramp and through glass doors. A young woman seated in a wheelchair staffs the front desk. She smells politely. 2 folders are stacked on the desk, an orange one labeled Wheat Tree, Mexico City, VAM Station Wagon, 1974, and a green one labeled Wheat Tree, Elizabethtown, Kinetic Sculpture, 1968. Pick up the orange folder. Shannon picks up the file labeled Mexico City, VAM Station Wagon, 1974. The woman at the front desk gestures to an unlabeled door in the back of the room. Shannon enters, switches on a lamp at a desk inside the small room, and sits down with the orange folder. Inside the folder are 3 clear plastic bags containing muddy brown flakes of varying sizes and hues. Each sample is numbered, with corresponding one-sheet documents interleaved. Examine the first sample. Shannon reads about the first sample. This sample was taken from the hood of a station wagon. The text speculates about this tree under which it was parked, the decayed oak leaves found stuck in the windshield wipers, pools of dew that accumulated in dents. The second sample. Shannon reads about the second sample. This sample was taken from the passenger side door. The text describes some variance in oxidation and age, evidence that the station wagon was involved in a minor accident and a part of the door repaired and painted over. Shannon reads about the third sample. This sample was taken from the gas tank. Given the relatively small amount of rust accumulated here, when compared to the rest of the car, the accompanying text concludes that the station wagon was returned to use after being abandoned for some time. Gas is a solvent. Up the green folder. Inside the folder are 3 clear plastic bags containing muddy brown flakes of varying sizes and hues. Each sample is numbered with corresponding one-sheet documents interleaved from the kinetic sculpture. Examine the first sample. Shannon reads about the first sample. This sample was taken from the sculpture's base and is the smallest of the 3. The accompanying text explains that the base was made up of a cheap stainless steel. It resisted decay, but not entirely. This sample, the second sample, is made up of dozens of small flakes and was taken from a chain link fence that surrounded the sculpture. The text speculates that the material making up the fence could not have been seriously intended to protect anyone or anything. It was too weak to be anything but decorative. Shannon reads about the third sample. This sample was taken from a garbage can near the sculpture. The accompanying text describes this kind of metal garbage can, its common use in institutional settings, and its resilience against air conditioning, discarded carbonated drinks, and other institutional hazards. And that is that. Shannon leaves the Rust archives. Now if we can find our way back. The Bureau will be on our way to our next location. Clockwise to the Scarecrow. Back to the Bat Feeder. Any minute now. I go to the Bat Feeder. The Account Resolution Center is several hundred feet above the ground, precariously supported by a dozen metal pipes. The wires of the pulley system run down from a hole in the floor. A thin rope dangles next to them. Tug on the rope. Shannon tugs on the rope a few times. After a few still moments, the pulley wires grind into operation and a metal bucket slowly descends. While she watches the bucket approach, Shannon's mind wanders. She thinks about Weaver. She wonders if Weaver is down here somewhere on the Zero and what she might say about it. Probably something about its topology, its knotted surface. She remembers a puzzle Weaver enjoyed as a teenager about bridges and islands, moved between the islands, crossing each bridge once and only once. Weaver filled sketchbooks, drawing these islands and bridges from memory, trying different routes. Eventually, she moved on to other puzzles. Had she solved it, given up, or maybe she'd just drawn those bridges and islands so many times she no longer needed prayer and pencil. Well, paper and pencil to work on it. The pulley stops abruptly as the can... What am I reading? The pulley stops abruptly as the bucket reaches shoulder height. Inside is a handwritten note. Regrettably indisposed. Please call again. We are on the wrong layer here. I think I just have to go back. Scarecrow. Yeah, there we go. Still a bit far on the way back, but almost there, almost. Here we are at the Bureau. At long last. Act 3, Scene 12. Bureau of Reclaimed Spaces. Homer. Like how they change outfits every time you meet them. Hey, Johnny, got the time, Homer? Gotta get this thing fixed. If she catches me asking you, we'll never hear the end of it. They're always dressed up, they're always drippy. Oh, Lula. Here you are. Marianne has the rest of the evening off, so I'm minding the desk. Fine. You're not too busy? Lula. If I'm in the middle, well, if I'm in the middle of something, I just let the phone ring. It's soothing in a way. The results just came in by courier. Good news. Donald and his assistants were able to sort through the noise. I had Rick cross-reference their results against some of our records. He found a corresponding mail stop on the Echo River route. As it happens, the night ferry is scheduled to make its stop here shortly. The ferryman carries the mail and collects the garbage as well. I'm sure you can catch a ride out that way. You're welcome to wait here. I have to get back to packing. Shannon, are you going somewhere? I might. I'm feeling impulsive, and I'd like to be ready. Maybe back to Mexico. It's been years. They still have one of my sculptures in a museum down there, did you know? Big, ugly iron thing. Time to have it scrapped, anyway. Safe travels. Try to stay out of the water. It's colder than it looks, and deep. Bro, how long do we have to wait? Conway. Oh, who knows? Bug. All right, what happened? To Conway. Up to you. Conway. It's okay. You can tell them. It doesn't matter anymore. Shannon. Fine. So, you're in that graveyard. Act 3, Scene 13. Where the strangers come from. Shannon, well, this can't be right. Looks like an old church. Conway, worth a look inside. Shannon, I guess. Ezra, I want to stay outside. Conway. Why? Ezra, I think I saw a lizard. Junebug, I'll stay with him. Shannon, okay, we'll make it quick. The church floor is cold metal, scuffed and flexed by unknown boot heels. Shannon, I don't know what I expected. Oh wait. Strangers, he kept saying. Kind of vague already, isn't it? Donald's a stranger. Hell, you and I are practically strangers. Listen, earlier, in the mine, I didn't want to talk about it, but... What did you find down there? And I saw Weaver. She was on TV. I was just testing a pretty simple tube repair, flipping through channels to check the saturation, and she was just there. It was kind of horrible. I mean, I told you she disappeared, suddenly, ran away, but we thought... You thought she was dead. Yeah, I guess I don't like to say it. Dead. And then, the next time I flipped to channel 2, Weaver. It's burned in my vision now. She's standing in a room, the walls are blank. A blank kind of gray. There's tape on the walls, like markings, and desks. A classroom, maybe. The camera is in the corner, so it's this sort of 45-degree angle into the room, and there's Weaver right in the center of the picture. I stopped turning the dial. Hell, I think I stopped breathing. Eventually, she spoke, but there was no real sound, just this awful hum. I read the closed captions. She said to go to the mine, I'd find something there. Can't remember her exact words. Whenever I try, I get distracted, fuzzy. Shannon coughs into her sleeve. So dusty in here, right? Yeah, real dusty. You'd think with all these holes in the ceiling. What the hell was that? Did you hear that? We should check outside. Is Conway being cut off? Oh. And now we're playing as the boys from Hard Times. The stranger activates the tape player slung on his shoulder. A crackly drawl echoes in the room. It is patient and sounds like it should be smiling. Doolittle. My regrets. I hope I didn't keep you waiting long. We don't see a lot of foot traffic these days. I guess you're here about the job. I'm afraid we only have one opening at the moment. Horrible business. Anyway, we're actually looking for some information about an old computer. Doolittle. Certainly. I'll tell you everything you need to know. I've only just met you, but I feel certain there's a place for you here. I'll just take you over to meet the dispatcher, show you the trucks, get you familiarized. Converse as we go. Shannon to Conway. What is this place? Well, it's not some old church. No, I guess not. But still, it all has a kind of reverence to it. And what's that smell? Like bread. Baking bread? Doolittle. Follow me, please. We can degauss ourselves. That's funny. What happens if you do it next to Conway? Not that it matters. I have to ask you to step in here a moment. This is for your safety, and adjust your outfits just a bit. There's some protective headwear up on the wall back there. Please remove your shoes and eyeglasses. Shannon, I'm not taking off my shoes. Oh, I understand. It's only a courtesy to... Well, do us a favor and put on the headwear anyways. Just this way. You can only communicate with the radios, the tape recorders. Doesn't mean it's all pre-recorded. Hello? Shannon. Wow, check this stuff out. Must be decades old, but it's in perfect condition. Conway. How do you think they keep it like that? Shannon. Maintenance, old man. I bet it's someone's job around here. Probably hard to keep all the dust out, you know, underground. That's why I got into this business, to keep old stuff like this running. Seems like such a shame to let it just fall into ruin, you know? Like the computer back in the cave, Xanadu. Decades of engineering, thousands of years of mathematics and philosophy, all petrified into living stone. How could he just let it fall apart? Little. More new arrivals this evening. Plenty to do. Got to relay the formula. Conway. What job are they working? I don't know what it's been settled. What? I don't know that it's been settled just yet. You see, sometimes we take on newcomers already in debt to the distillery. One of the foremen will find something for them to do. Chip away at their sum until it's all settled. That's what I'm doing here, chipping away. That's what we're all doing. You may be aware of who those people are. Anyway. We can totally drive. Here's the fleet. Oh, we just use these to get around internally. Conway, how big is this place? Oh, it's grown a great deal over the years. Incredible to think, really. When Mr. Bishop founded this operation, it was only about 1,800 square feet, and half of that or more was occupied by camouflage to keep the law out. Hiding out in the back of an old church, purifying spirits by homemade fire. Handmade fire, a kettle and a dream. So, the trucks are just east a ways in shipping. You can become acquainted with the dispatcher there. Give me a tap on the shoulder if you see something that catches your eye. Always happy to show off the facilities. Sublime machinery. Now, I don't actually remember how much there is to see here. Where are we driving? Hello? Man, I don't remember getting it this stuck easily. What is the problem? There we go. Not as much to see here anyways. Man, I really don't remember the driving being this strange. What is happening? Hello? Maybe there's just something wrong. Oh, there we go. Just decided to fix itself. Sorry. I really, I don't... I've never had that happen. Yes, get off. Please, get out. The spirit's safe. Confidentially. Don't let them catching you look... What? Don't let them catch you looking too closely here. Not within our purview. Anyway, what's it for? Keeps us honest in the eyes of the state. Well, in the eyes of the management anyway. We keep pretty well out of view down here. Not much chance of being spotted by a helicopter, eh? But if the law came knocking, we could say we were logging and securing our virgin spirits. We could say. Marvelous engineering, though, isn't it? I'd say. I'd like not to, miss what there is to see here, but maybe it'll just be better to go on foot. Shannon, so I guess these are like before and after? The new casks look like they could be used for anything, says Conway. Shannon, yeah, before they get all warped and stained, you really can't undo that, can you? No way to clean them after the aging process, I mean. It's a one-way street. Feel that draft of warmth like a summer breeze. This is the aging warehouse. Conway, how many casks have you got aging in there? Little. I couldn't say exactly. Take a look at the inventory report later if you like. Plenty, though. Of course. We only have half our aging stock in here at any given time. Most distilleries let their whiskey sit in casks through the cycle of seasons. In summer, the wood expands and the whiskey seeps in, picking up flavor. In winter, the wood contracts and squeezes the whiskey back out. Down here, there are no seasons. Each workday proceeds from the last in an unbroken chain of climate control. So we make our own seasons. Each cask alternates in a weekly cycle between the cold ground upstairs and this heated warehouse. Besides that, I'm not exactly sure how much there is to see here. It's been a while. And still? White lightning in a copper bottle. Some folks have other names for it. How strong is it? Heated up about 135 proof before it's filtered, cut, and barreled. Oh, you wouldn't want to drink it at this stage. Not that you could get a hold of any here. That's what the safe is for. Look at the neck, like a swan's, eh? This design is part of our legacy. The vapor passes up through this neck along just such a contour so as to produce our bourbon's signature character. Mr. Bishop only said the shape came to him in a dream. He shut awake in the middle of the night and set to work hammering an old tea kettle to match that phantom geometry. Believe what you will. Here the vapors pass through a coil submerged in cold water and condense. Again, the geometry is very particular. Mr. Bishop arrived by intuition at a series of mathematical relationships between the angles and magnitudes here, some weird cacophony of ratios. Well, those principles are lost to history now. Moving along. Do you like pseudoscience alcohol? Would you drink the pseudoscience alcohol from Hard Times Distillery? Would you be able to go back down the street with a pen Whoa, okay, I guess we're stuck up here now. The end. Guess you were supposed to drive this far. I don't quite remember if there was anything else to see, so we'll continue. Please don't touch a thing. Very sensitive devices. We're not even allowed to run the formula through them. Shannon, what do they do? Temperatures, pressures, wear, tear, acidity, supply levels, any and all attending numbers in need of crunching, and so on. Am I boring you yet? Are you simply dying of boredom? I myself could discuss this matter past sunrise. We're just trying to fix this old computer in the caves, says Shannon. Of course, I'm boring you. Let's move on. Shannon, more of those old computers. Looks like about the same vintage as that stuff in the cave. Conway, how can you tell? Shannon, oh, I don't know this make or model, but you can tell. Check out these tubes. Nobody uses these anymore. I'm not sure where they'd even get replacements these days. It's rare stuff. Hey, is this like antiquing mentally set for you? I should probably sound kind of ridiculous, waxing on about vacuum tubes and oscilloscopes. Conway, it's good to have a passion. Yeah, I guess it is. Someday you'll have to tell me what yours is. Oh. Good looking, Ted. Get that new fan installed? Ted met one of our engineers at a bar some years ago and they just clicked. Our engineer told them about some trouble with the equipment here and he felt compelled to take a crack at it. Ted's been obsessively tuning, replacing, and upgrading ever since. Quite a project, Ted. You'll get ahead of you'll get ahead of it one day, I'm sure. Danny. How goes the mystery, Danny? Danny's an enigma. He leases an old van from our fleet for some kind of daily art project. He drives out every morning and comes back by evening smelling of propellants. Can't afford the lease in cash, so he pays us work here. I forgot that was a thing that you could degauss next to the other workers. Suss them out. Connie? Connie, how's your rat? Connie's a great lover of animals. Do you know she's adopted over a dozen pets in as many years? Of course, death comes to all things great and small, but the distillery found that the remains in our makeshift pet cemetery were trespassing on our subterranean property. Our hand was forced. In order to avoid the legal extinguishment of our easement, we were required to file a civil suit. Over the level head, Connie agreed to a pre-court settlement to pay off her fines by working for us here. This car's really an enigma, huh? For some reason it stares. You can see that arrow moving around when I press the arrow keys. It's very strange. The rinser. This is where most of our stuff ends up. Staff ends up. Shannon, pretty modern equipment. Oh, absolutely. Top of the line machinery, a dramatic improvement. We used to bottle everything by hand, but these machines are marvelously effective. Made things a bit complicated for the workers, after all. The distillery can't just fire them. No. How, then, would they settle their accounts? But There's nowhere else to put them. They keep an eye on things here. Can't be paid as much just to watch, of course. Well, that's progress for you. What else to see? Not sure there is anything else. These people are only allowed to interact with one thing. Smell that? No mistaking it. It smells kind of oily. That sickly sweet hypnotic aroma, like twilight in an all-night filling station, is the mash. We use a distinctive accelerant when cooking it. Don't ask me what it's called. It hasn't got a name. A dark viscous fluid. It arrives monthly in unlabeled barrels on a horse-drawn cart. The mash is the cave mold. A descendant of one of Mr. Bishop's friends delivers it. Silent middle-aged woman. That family's still somehow in debt to us, I'm sure of that. Conway with his one leg already fits right in. Here's the charring yard. That's pretty well, considering. This smell. This is why they call bourbon a comfort food. Those are empty, right? Says Shannon. What? Of course. We don't really exhume them anymore. We tapped that source years ago. Well, good for them. Oh, Davy. Davy, how goes it? Watch out for Davy. He's a skilled card player. He once played a marvelously protracted game of blackjack against our old floor manager, Jane, in some tiki lounge in the Echo River. His luck ran out, and he couldn't cover his losses, so she offered him a job. We build every cask by hand, right here. It's tradition, but I like to think our application of hands and hammers to the oak gives our stuff a kind of life. Well, that's what I like to think. And they look like coffins? That's tradition too, I suppose. And I'm sure it helps avert suspicion if a satellite catches us burying them upstairs. If only I could see where I was. Anything here? Well, to make a bourbon, you'll need some water, don't you? Here's where it all comes in, the mundanity of it. Quite an impressive chorus when they all get going like this, though. What river is this? Says Conway. It's an artery of the Echo River. The Echo River is fed from Lake Leith, but you wouldn't recognize a drop of it. Leith is cold, dark, and so very deep. And still, rumors of Lake Leith's supernatural properties are, I'd say, just a bit exaggerated, but I wouldn't fish in it. I assume there's plenty of mist here, but I'm not feeling the car right now. And I desperately need some water. Germain was a bicycle courier. Until recently, he sadly misplaced some money orders en route to a boiler maintenance company and was held liable. When the distillery bought the company, his debt came along with it. Leo's good people. Used to run a magazine, paid writers by the word, and ended up a few flowery objectives in the red. You know, I said adjectives, but it's adjectives. Hard Times, co-signed on a loan for a quarterly digest, but it sank. Doesn't talk much now. Dennis. We love Dennis, truly, but Dennis caused all of us a great deal of time and money, you see, many years ago, and it continues to sting. His family owned a logging company once. They accidentally floated an uninspected log infested with termites down the river, and it ended up in our yard to spread its pestilence. Devastation. We didn't catch it until the poorest casks already had been filled. The Great Warehouse Spillage Disaster, we still call it. Yes, Dennis will be here for a while. We're just lucky he's such an agreeable fellow. Oh, hello. This is Raoul, our young prodigy. Raoul's being groomed for the role of master distiller. The distillery paid tuition for his chemistry degree, and in exchange he's here serving out an apprenticeship. It shall be for many years, I expect. Pamela? This is Pamela. On her dear friend's 40th birthday, she purchased a quarter cask of Hard Times to celebrate. Unfortunately, her check was misplaced under the delivery driver's seat for a few months, and was cashed at an inopportune moment. Naturally, the biggest check first policy incurred significantly elevated overdraft fees and interest. The distillery agreed to front Pam's bill in exchange for a promise of work. Looking sharp, Vincent. Vincent, an avid boatsman, miscalculated while cabrewing down the Echo one afternoon and damaged the distillery's old water pump. Having depleted his modest funds on a canoe full of craft beer, his only option was to pay down the damages working for us here. Everyone's working. Oh, Ruben. Ruben here was once a serial entrepreneur. Do you know what that is? He created and sold a bunch of businesses, one after another. Creative bookkeeping caught up with him, and he had to borrow against some empty promises to keep his licenses intact. Now he's here and shipping. It may not be a draw on its own, but the food is certainly passable. Most of us never leave the premises anyways. Why not? Well, we strive to avoid unnecessary downtime. Besides, if we were all coming and going down 3 times a day, we'd surely attract the wrong kind of attention. Can't tax when you can't see, no. Marge. Evening, Marge. Marge is an avid collector of vinyl records. She borrowed some quick cash from a distillery employee for a rare King Tubby dub plate. Must have been quite a find. God, they just make these people work here forever for whatever reason they want. Heather comes to us from the field of psychotherapy. She used to hit the bars and blow off steam after emotionally draining client sessions, but the remedy outpaced the disease, and her tab went to the distillery. Whoa. Shannon, do you think you could ever live somewhere like this? Conway. Seems lonely. Shannon, yes, I guess you don't. Where do you live? Conway. I stayed in a barn on Lisa's property. Shannon. Oh, damn. Hey, I was living in my workshop, right? Now that your shop is closing, I guess you're... Yeah, I guess that's me too now. If I can't get my landlord to change the locks back. Just a couple of vagrants, huh? We'll figure it out. Thought you'd like to see the accommodations. We supply what bedding we can, according to the formula. Conway, you sleep here? Little. A commute would cut into our working hours, and we dearly need those working hours, some more than others. Why, I haven't seen the outdoors, and myself, I'm focused. Well, shouldn't I be? I've got this figure to pay down. The longer I sleep, the more interest accrues. It's a sin to sleep your freedom away like that. Of course, as a delivery driver, you'd be able to come on go a little. You're timed pretty closely, but you can still roll the window down. Maybe glimpse a familiar silhouette on the side of the road as you pass. Continuing. Where are we? I think we've gone in a circle here. I don't know where we're supposed to go. Let's just click the button to go to shipping and we can go this directly. Oh. Is this where we need to be? Perhaps. Here it is. Now, I have to ask, as a matter of course, what kind of experience do you have driving trucks? Conway, I drove deliveries for an antique shop until this last run. Aha, precious cargo. You'll do just fine. And you can drive safely, can't you? I haven't any doubt. No, it's only after what happened with Miguel this evening. Shannon, what happened with Miguel this evening? Well, the dust is still clearing, of course. Perhaps he closed his eyes a moment, or simply hit a curve too devilish. I do pity ill-fated Miguel. He was good company and slow to anger, but if we're speaking confidentially, well, with all that lost product to be repaid, bourbon and glass dashed across the interstate and a few casks too, we're all just thankful he had no next of kin. So, let's see if we can ring up the dispatcher. Little starts the truck and switches on the CB radio. A deep, monotonous voice drones from the dashboard speaker. 1020 on that load, come back. Up in Hummingbird Cave, 1012, City Kitty. Little into radio. This is a good time, dispatch. We may have found Miguel's replacement. Thought you might like to get acquainted. 10-9, come again. Conway, introduce yourself. Conway. Hello? Told dispatch something impressive about yourself. They're very well regarded here. Conway, I'm not really here for a job. Dispatcher, 99, wheel holder. Gotta pay the water bill. Wheel holder. Ah, so. I'm certain they'll call back before long. Let's take a look around the truck, eh? Headlights work fine, see? The little fiddles with the controls. That's important. Most of our product goes out at night. You'll never know who you'll run into in the daylight, and dusk can be treacherously misleading with all the indirect light. The magic hour, eh? Magic hour, sure. Shannon to Conway. The angle of the sun at dusk and dawn means the light is mostly indirect reflections from the sky. Everything looks like a movie, and it's all a bit softer. Conway had to get off the highway. Too loud, too murky. He turned off into some gray cornfield in Indiana. Empties rattled under the passenger seat. He kept them over there so the smell wouldn't spread. That window was always open a crack. He had to pull over. He just needed a nap. Even if he ran late. He was only human. He'd been out since the headlights were on. Didn't even stop for coffee. He cracked a beer at 3, eyes on the road, 4:30. He dodged some stray cattle. The headlights were coming back on. Rockford could wait. Early morning couldn't be much worse than late night. What did they care? He just needed a few hours. So, moving on. Oh, sure. I know you want to look. Kick the tires. That's the thing we do, isn't it? As though our knees could exert the kind of force these tires see out there on the road. We're more likely to hurt ourselves. Isn't it the way, eh? I mean, sure, they're big machines, but they can be fragile. Absolutely. A truck deserves care and fearful respect, like a glass elephant. Miguel was a good driver, but he didn't have that quality of deference. Conway sat in a dim room full of folding chairs. The walls and ceiling were painted with old smoke. Someone read from the book. He drank coffee with a little sugar. He was just waiting for it to be over. A few others shared. They spoke in abstractions like a program of action and a good orderly direction. Spiritual but not religious. Religious but not spiritual. All the things we tried. When it was over, they clasped sweaty hands through a short prayer and stepped back out into the morning. He knew it was time to hit the bar. It was good to get out of the heat, away from the mendacity. He settled into it. Someone else from the meeting was there, looking through. Whoa. Someone else from the meeting was here, looking rough. He focused on the television. A nature show was playing. Something about river dolphins. They cruised the Amazon, eating psychedelic frogs and having weird adventures. At night, they transformed into attractive young partygoers and wore hats to cover their blowholes. Now, what else can we show you? Control the wipers with this knob here. The little fiddles with the controls. They seem to have a decent torque to them, eh? Can't say how they'd fare in an ice storm, but we must never delay a shipment. Better to assume the risk. You folks watch the weather closely. I wouldn't know it if I saw it. Too many years of climate control. Have I mentioned I rarely, if ever, leave our facility? I wouldn't know the rain if it drowned me. They ditched class for the day. Drive in the rain. It was pointless to stay. We'll review. It was a lost cause, and she didn't need it anyway. She was smart, bored. It was time to cut out. Shitty day for it, though. 83 and biblical flood. I went to see a movie. It was some anonymous swashbuckler film about real men and women, real tights, real lips, fake blood. They brought a flask. They smoked cigarettes, drank awful hooch, whistled buckets of rain. She sang about someone she wanted once to have loved. Brown hair curled around her ear. She had a voice like Scotch whiskey. They poured another drink. And another and another. She worried it was getting dark out. Then it was getting light out. They ended up in someone else's field. Someone else's car. An early morning joyride and a sunless collision. Whoa, and a sunrise collision. She got on the bus, and he hiked back to his car. He sat in his car and went over some options. Chicago, Toronto, Barrow. It seemed like a bold and impulsive gesture at the time. As he pulled out of the parking lot, he removed his hands from the steering wheel for a moment and felt the car drift into a decision. Years later, he'd think of this as the moment he himself started drifting. Modest technology, but suited to the job, eh? Plenty good enough. Looks like it's just about ready to go out. We have some good strong folks in shipping here, so you never need to worry about loading if you don't want to. Bit hard on the knees and back at our age, eh? Of course you'll have to unload at this destination, but that's the job, and some drivers like the extra shift stacking and loading here. Shouldn't really do any lifting these days. I see. Well, surely we can spare a dolly and carrying strap for your health and safety. Conway woke up on baled hay. Everything was too bright. His head hurt, the usual. Lisette and Ira argued loudly just outside the open barn door. She wanted Ira to take him inside and shower, have some coffee, get to the job. Ira said there wasn't time. Conway was in no condition. It was an important job. They couldn't put it off. Ira said to let the deadbeats sleep it off and then send him packing. He said Charlie could do the job. Conway stepped out of the barn, shielding his eyes. He tried to say something reassuring, but just short of stumbled around it. Lisette looked away. Ira just spat and went inside to wake Charlie. I was a stubborn man. So Charlie went along and Conway drifted out again, and he didn't hear about the accident until months later. So, what's next? Truck's radio crackles back to life. Driver, come back. Ah, there's dispatch. Now, tell them about your experience. Tell them the truck's in good shape. And tell them you'll start in the morning. I really can't, says Conway. Yeah, we've got to finish this delivery and a few... says Shanna. Radio voice 2. 10:33, dispatch. We've got 2 black eyes and a flock of crocodiles. Come back. 10-4, back it down and prick your eyelids, driver. Come back, Lem. 10:44. Come back, wheel holder. We remain silent. Little to Conway. Dispatch is addressing you. Little into radio. He's here, dispatch. Got your ears on? Good. Listen to this. So, I think that went well. Let's head back up to the logistics and seal the deal, eh? I've got one more thing to show you. Let's head back upstairs, eh? I've one more thing to show you. And wait, we only came here looking for some answers about the stupid moldy computer. Oh, the old man in the cave with the moldy computer. That black mold, it's drawn to whiskey. It feeds on ethanol fumes, you see. As we age the whiskey, some of it inevitably evaporates into the air, the angel's share. It goes through the vents here and out into the caves. If we can scrape up that mold, we can usually apply some pressure and cold to it, squeeze and condense the angel's share back into drinkable whiskey. Every drop counts when you're making a living on that stuff. So we'd go down and scrape it off his equipment, just like any other place it grows. Kept sending us people here to drive us away. Paranoid. Truly paranoid. Well, now we have the formula, so we don't need to go collecting mold. But we didn't do anything to his moldy computer. He just forgot the password. One of his assistants shared it with me. Dome in air. That'll get you going, I'm sure of it. So, join me upstairs? What's his deal? Earl? This is Earl. He used to be a beekeeper, borrowed some casks to store the hives. The interest accrued more quickly than the honey. Now he works for us here in logistics. If you don't mind. Here it is, a beauty, wouldn't you say? It's an antique, you know. Shanna, what is it? Why, it's an adding machine. This is where we come for our daily ritual, to calculate the day's interest and repayment according to the formula. I usually do so at the beginning of my shift, so I know how many hours I need in order to keep up. Yes, I believe you'll do well here, sir. Happy to have you. Congratulations. You're hired. Wait, we can't... It's customary here to start each day with a shift drink. Let's make it special. Mark the occasion. This is the top shelf stuff now. Single barrel. Shannon, he doesn't. A little down the hatch. Venum memore mors. Of course, we have no choice. I can't even move my mouse. It moves itself. Too little. Decent enough. Welcome aboard. He's not working for you, says Shannon. We have to get back to this. He has a delivery to make. It's this, not working? Are you turning down this opportunity? Oh, wait. She's right. I have to make this, I'm disappointed. I'm afraid that leaves us with a delicate problem. As I indicated, this is the top shelf stuff you're drinking now. It isn't cheap. It's not your first shift drink. Well, Just the matter of this tour just now. My time and experience are billed at quite the premium. This is not good for you, my friend. You're in quite deep, but my back of the envelope, by the back of my end back, whoa. You're in quite deep by my back, whoa, this is messing me up. You're in quite deep by my back of the envelope estimations. Well, we have that in common, I suppose, all of us. Yes, I'm afraid you'll have to work this off somehow. It's just the way of it. Janet, what's happening right now? You can start tomorrow. Take the time to settle your affairs. Of course, the interest begins to compound immediately, and, well, we'll go over the formula when we get here. I should get back to work. See you tomorrow, then. So, I guess I start in the morning. I guess. Because I'm confused. I mean, it's just the way these things go, kid. But, well, that still gives us a few hours to roam, right? Where's that ferry? End of Act 3. So, as I said earlier, I think I'll be playing Act 4 twice. Really, all of the chapters can be played some ridiculous number of times in order to get more of the combinations you're able to get, but Act 4, there's some explicit choices you can make, and it's just, it's a shorter act, as is. So, I'll probably go back and play it twice just to get through the choices. There'll probably be separate videos, though. I'll figure it out. Well, I desperately need some water, so tune in next time for Here and There Along the Echo, which is a pretty nice little thing.